Chapter 1757. I heard there were bugs today. I was worried about your safety, so I came to see you. Jean-Air laughed. It would be a pity if something happened to a little beauty like you. Jean-Air stretched out his hand and tried to grab Qiu Shuang's chest. But Qiu Shuang pulled out a small knife from her waist and stabbed it towards Jean-Air's claw. Jean-Air was shocked and took a step back. Ah, a little chilly. Get out or I will stab your dog eyes blind. Qiu Shuang's eyes flashed with fierceness. You are just a little girl. What can you do? So what if you have a small knife? Why don't you try stabbing me? Jean-Air didn't believe her at all. He smiled shamelessly and walked over. Qiu Shuang took a step forward and moved like lightning. The dagger instantly pierced into Jean-Air's left eye socket. Blood spurted out of Jean-Air's eye. He screamed in pain and ran out of the tent. Husband, I chased away a ruffian. Qiu Shuang knelt beside Li Fan and tied a knot on his collar with her teeth. You will always be my hero in my heart. No matter what happens to heaven beyond heaven, this is its fate. Husband, just remember, no matter what happens, I will always be by your side. Qiu Shuang said and left a kiss on Li Fan's forehead. Then she stretched out her hands and pressed on Li Fan's shoulders. Qiu Shuang seemed to be able to feel the existence of Li Fan's soul. His soul was warm and it made Qiu Shuang feel very comfortable. Following the secret technique, Qiu Shuang activated the energy from her soul and pulled out the soul-subduing nails from Qiu Shuang's body and injected them into her own body. Then, the few elders inserted a total of 5 soul-subduing nails into Li Fan's body. 1 for each of his hands and legs and 1 for his heart. These soul-subduing nails sealed all of Li Fan's abilities. As long as they were transferred into her body, she would be able to turn her husband back to his powerful self. The secret technique of the royal family, Shadow Shift. Qiu Shuang executed her secret technique and pulled out a soul-suppressing nail from Li Fan's calf. The soul-suppressing nail moved to her leg, causing her right calf to immediately lose feeling. It was effective. Qiu Shuang's eyes lit up and she continued to use the secret technique. Then, the second soul-suppressing nail moved too. It moved to Qiu Shuang's left calf. There were still 3 soul-suppressing nails. He was about to succeed. Qiu Shuang felt that her soul was a little weak, but now was not the time to pity herself. Qiu Shuang endured this feeling of helplessness and forced herself to focus. She started moving the soul-suppressing nail in Li Fan's left hand again. His legs were no longer under his control, as if they had been thrown away. Autumn Frost laid down next to Li Fan and continued to cast spells. After a while, the third soul-suppressing nail was moved away and entered Qiu Shuang's left hand. Qiu Shuang's left hand lost its strength and fell limply to her side. Soon, my husband. Qiu Shuang caressed Li Fan's chest with her right hand and continued to cast her spell. The fourth soul-suppressing nail started to move bit by bit. Then, it followed the place where the 2 of them were connected and finally entered Qiu Shuang's arm. Qiu Shuang fell onto Li Fan's body and her forehead was on Li Fan's chest. There's only one left, my husband. Qiu Shuang was very satisfied and a smile hung on her lips. It's almost done, my husband. Qiu Shuang only had the strength to speak. She used her forehead to press on Li Fan's chest and continued to cast her secret technique. The last soul-suppressing nail in Li Fan's chest moved away from its original position bit by bit. Then, it stuck onto Qiu Shuang's forehead and entered her body, nailing onto her heart. My husband. Qiu Shuang felt as if everything was leaving her quickly, but she could feel Li Fan's strong heartbeat. It's time to wake up. Look at me. Qiu Shuang had lost all her senses. She stuck onto Li Fan's body as if she had fallen asleep. She was very quiet. Just at this moment, the tent's curtain was suddenly pulled down and a few strong men rushed in. "Little girl, I'm going to skin you today." Zhang-Er had one blind eye and the other eye was filled with lust and anger. He grabbed towards Qiu Shuang. Just at this moment, another hand suddenly stretched out and grabbed Zhang-Er's arm. "It's you." Seeing the man who was lying on the bed open his eyes, Zhang-Er was shocked. He then muttered in confusion. "Aren't you crippled? Why are you up? Die." Li Fan squeezed his palm and broke Zhang-Er's arm. "Ah ah ah." Zhang-Er screamed in pain. When the strong men behind him saw this, they immediately grabbed their weapons and prepared to teach Li Fan a lesson. "All of you, die!" Li Fan roared. The huge sound wave immediately blew the tent away and shattered the heart meridians of the surrounding people. One by one, the corpses fell to the ground. Li Fan carried Qiu Shuang and stood in the middle of these corpses. The remaining people in the town were all frightened as they looked at Li Fan in fear. Zhang-Er. The deputy mayor looked at Li Fan in fear. "You actually killed Zhang-Er. The mayor will definitely not let you off." "What? Someone killed Zhang-Er?" The mayor rushed out with a group of thugs. When he saw Zhang-Er's corpse, he was furious. "You bastard! Back then, I saw that you were all pitiful and let you in. Now, you actually dare to touch my people. All of you deserve to die." Li Fan shouted. His heart was burning with anger, he only wanted to find a place to vent. "Damn it! Kill this ingrate. Let them pay for Zhang-Er's death." A group of people followed the mayor. They raised their weapons and rushed towards Li Fan. Cinnabar wildfire. Li Fan stretched out his hand and waved towards the sky. In a blink of an eye, a cinnabar great spear suddenly flew above his head and floated in the air. Fallen vermilion bird. Rumble. The great spear stabbed into the ground and a red flame wave burst out. A wave of high temperature rose, instantly evaporating everyone. Only pools of blood were left on the ground and it was still boiling. The oasis had also evaporated. Other than Li Fan and Qiu Shuang, everything else had disappeared. Qiu Shuang, Li Fan hugged Qiu Shuang. He could feel her body temperature and heartbeat. He knew that she was still alive. But no matter how he called out, Qiu Shuang would not respond. "Silly girl," Li Fan hugged Qiu Shuang tightly, "I want everyone to die with you." Third princess, why are you so stubborn?" Just as Li Fan was preparing to head to the imperial capital and start a massacre, an old man suddenly ran over and knelt behind Li Fan and started crying. Li Fan turned around, stretched out his hand, and raised it. The old man's neck was grabbed out of thin air and lifted into the air. "Who are you?" Chapter 1758. Cough cough. I am third princess's butler," the old man coughed. "What are you doing here?" Third princess asked me for a method to save you." I didn't expect her to really use it. What method is this? How did she do it?" Li Fan threw the old man in front of him and asked coldly. "Maybe there is a way to save Qiu Shuang." This is a royal secret technique," the old man said in a trembling voice. "It's called shadow displacement. It can move the soul-suppressing nail in your body into the princess's soul. This way, your cultivation will recover, but the princess's soul will be sealed. It's that damn soul-subduing nail again." Li Fan clenched his teeth and wished he could kill those elders right now. If not for them, how would Qiu Shuang become like this? Those fellows should all die. "Qiu Shuang, bear with it. I will help you remove the soul-subduing nail." "You must not." The old man immediately stopped Li Fan. The princess's body is weak and the soul-subduing nail is nailed into her soul. If you forcefully pull it out, it will tear the princess' soul into pieces. Li Fan stopped. He cannot let Qiu Shuang suffer any harm. Generally, I have a snow pearl here. The old butler took out a white bead from his pocket and handed it to Li Fan. This is a royal secret treasure that was given to me by the late emperor. If you keep it in your mouth, it can keep the princess's body forever young and will not be affected. This is just a temporary measure. Li Fan frowned. I want Qiu Shuang to come back to life. It was Qiu Shuang who saved him in his most difficult time. Now, it is his turn to save her. The only way is to remove the soul-subduing nail. The old butler suggested, as long as the soul-subduing nail is removed, the princess will be able to wake up. What you're saying is nonsense. If I could remove it, I would have done it long ago. You can't remove it, but someone can. The old butler immediately said, the one who started the trouble needs to untie it. You mean, the Council of Elders? I have some friendship with Elder Ren. I can help you pull some strings to solve this problem. Elder Ren's hatred for me is as deep as the ocean. He was also the one who personally banished our people. Beg him. We might as well kill him. Do you have a way to kill him? The old steward reminded Li Fan, the 8 elders have used the soul detachment technique to ensure that their souls will never die. You can only save the little princess by begging them. Generally, the little princess is willing to sacrifice herself for you. What, for the sake of the little princess, you can't even beg your enemy? The old steward's words had indeed touched Li Fan. You tell me first, how should I beg? Even if I beg, will Elder Ren agree? I don't know. I'll just try my best. The old butler sighed. After all, this is the only way. Then you make the arrangements. No matter if it's a dragon's pool or a tiger's den, for Qiu Shuang, I'll go. Li Fan had also made up his mind. Qiu Shuang had become like this because of him. He couldn't watch Qiu Shuang be like a living dead. All right, let's go. The old butler seemed to be very anxious. In case there's trouble. There's no hurry. Li Fan carried the little princess and leaped 100 meters high. When he landed again, he was already at the edge of the mine. There were a lot of silver ore in the mine. Li Fan let the vermilion bird attach to his body and release high temperature to melt the silver and reform its shape. Very quickly, a silver coffin appeared in front of Li Fan. You can sleep here first, my dear. Li Fan carried the little princess into the coffin. From today onwards, I won't leave you even for a moment. Li Fan carried the coffin on his back and walked out of the mine. The old butler chased after him and waited at the entrance of the mine. When he saw Li Fan, he immediately went up to him. General Li, shall we go? Yes. The two of them brought Qiu Shuang and went on their way. With their speed, the speed of returning to the capital was very fast. In less than 2 days, they had already arrived at the gate of the capital. As an exiled person, it was impossible for Li Fan to enter the capital. But the old butler used a special method to let Li Fan sneak into the city from another place. Generally, you can stay here first. This is my house, it's very safe. The old butler placed Li Fan in a very ordinary house. I'll go to the Elders Guild to look for Elder Ren. Just wait here. With that, the old butler went out. Li Fan sat in the room and placed the coffin in front of him. He didn't speak or make a sound. He just kept his hands behind his back and looked at Qiu Shuang, who was lying in the coffin. When the old butler came back, the sky was already dark. He walked into the room and saw that Li Fan wasn't moving at all as he stood in front of the coffin. And Li Fan's hair had already turned completely white. This. Generally. Yes. Li Fan replied softly. Elder Ren agreed to meet. Is that so? When and where? Tonight, at the Taiwang Temple. The Taiwang Temple was located beside the spiritual king palace and worshipped the ancestors of the royal family. Okay. Li Fan replied and didn't say anything else. He looked at Qiu Shuang quietly like a statue. The old butler didn't say anything and turned to leave. This Li Fan was a person who was infatuated with love. The old butler turned back into Elder Ren and had a cold smile on his face. Love was the Achilles heel of the Earthlings. Although it was also the Achilles heel of the Protoss. But it was only limited to the Protoss. The heaven immortals above them were the true supreme existences. But the small sky beyond heaven couldn't contain them. The entire Earth would be theirs. As long as they took over Earth, they could continue to steal the power of the celestial supremes. Sooner or later, he, Elder Ren, would become the next celestial supremes. Becoming an celestial supremes would truly surpass the shackles of life. At that time, he would be immortal forever and could even create another universe and create a world that belonged to him. But all of this needed someone to carry it out on his behalf. As for the other elders, they had supported the martial emperor's disciple. What a pity, that fellow was too weak and couldn't compare to the person in front of him. No matter how powerful you are, you won't be able to escape from my palm. The princess was the bargaining chip in his hand. Elder Ren was confident that through Qiu Shuang, he could firmly control that powerful idiot, Li Fan. Night fell. Li Fan went to the Taiwang Temple according to the agreement. Usually, this place should be heavily guarded, but now there wasn't a single person. Li Fan pushed open the temple door and walked in. He discovered that the Taiwang Temple was pitch black. The surroundings were filled with statues of the ancestors of the royal family, and at the very front stood a figure. Chapter 1759. The figure turned his head slowly and his gaze fell on Li Fan. He took off the hood on his head and revealed a familiar yet disgusting face to Li Fan. Elder Ren. We meet again. Elder Ren kept his hands in his sleeves and looked at Li Fan calmly. You have guts to come back at a time like this. It's all thanks to you. Li Fan gently placed Qiu Shuang's coffin beside him. Pull out her soul-subduing nail or I'll kill you. The princess is really noble. Elder Ren ignored Li Fan's threat and said slowly, if you kill me, who else can save her? Li Fan stopped his outstretched hand and his eyes were filled with anger. The princess used a secret technique to insert all 5 soul-subduing nails into her body. Once the soul-subduing nail is in her body, even you can't remove it by force. Otherwise, the princess' fragile and beautiful soul will be torn apart by you. If she dies, all of you will be buried with her. You're still talking big even at a time like this. Elder Ren looked at Li Fan arrogantly. It's because you overestimated yourself and challenged Grandmaster that she became like this. Li Fan, your strength is not enough to fight against the powerful Grandmaster. But I am very benevolent, I can give you a chance to save your beloved little princess. Elder Ren's words did move Li Fan. No matter what he was planning, he had to figure it out first. Tell me, what do you want me to do? Destroy the humans. Elder Ren's eyes lit up. As long as you kill all the humans, that's the only condition. Your condition is too much. The princess sacrificed everything for you. Don't tell me you can't do everything for her. Li Fan was silent. Could he kill all the humans on Earth for the princess? On one hand, it was Qiu Shuang who sacrificed herself for him. On the other hand, it was Earth where he had martial arts companions and loved ones. It was like a marquee. It was hard for him to choose between the two ends. Promise him. At this moment, a voice sounded in Li Fan's ears. Li Fan raised his eyebrows and said in a clear voice. All right, I promise you. This feels great. Elder Ren nodded. You are indeed the man that the princess likes. If the princess knew about your actions, she would be pleased. But how can I guarantee that you will fulfill your promise after I destroy the human race? That's simple. I can make a blood oath with you, Spirit King. After the blood oath was made, if one side violated the oath, they would be turned into flesh and blood. All right. Li Fan signed an oath with Elder Ren. After that, Elder Ren told Li Fan to stay in the old housekeeper's house without worry. After a while, the arrest warrant for Li Fan would be officially revoked. Li Fan believed that Elder Ren had the ability to do all this. After Elder Ren left, Li Fan glanced at the corner beside him. You can come out now, Prince Autumn Leaf. Yes. Autumn Leaf slowly walked out with a huge sword on her back. She looked at Li Fan with a complicated gaze. Greetings, brother-in-law. Autumn Leaf seemed a little awkward as she cupped her hands at Li Fan. You don't seem willing. My sister died because of you. Tell me, would I be happy? Autumn Leaf's eyes flashed with a hint of killing intent. Among the princes, only third sister treats me the best. Sorry, as a man, you can't even protect your own woman. You're too useless. Autumn Leaf mercilessly mocked Li Fan. Li Fan did not refute, but he asked another question. Why did you remind me to agree to Elder Ren's request just now? Li Fan looked at Autumn Leaf as if trying to see through the youngest prince of the royal family. Your mother has the bloodline of Earth. You can't possibly want to destroy the human race, right? Although I don't like the human race, I don't want to destroy them. Autumn Leaf snorted. In comparison, I want to destroy this corrupt and filthy sky beyond heaven more. Then what is your intention? I'm the same as you. I just want to save my sister. Autumn Leaf said straightforwardly. But even if you complete Elder Ren's request, he will definitely have a way to break the blood oath and control my sister, making you work for him. You're right. But this is my only choice. You still have another choice. Autumn Leaf continued, after destroying the human race, the 8 elders will leave this place and move their array to Earth. It will take at least a month to move the array of the soul detachment technique. During this period of time, the few of them will no longer be invincible. As long as you have the strength to kill them, you can execute them one by one. Once these people die, their soul-subduing nail will lose its effect. At that time, my sister will be resurrected. So, you still want to exterminate the human race? This was also Li Fan's bottom line. I'm afraid I can't do it. Didn't you learn his ability from the Twin Lion King? Autumn Leaf saw through Li Fan's secret. One of his abilities is space. You can create a space that is exactly the same as Earth in your body and preserve the entire Earth. Every human you kill will be resurrected in your world. What a joke. How is this possible? It sounds impossible, right? But do you know how to store a mountain in a mustard seed? This was created by you humans. Autumn Leaf said proudly, my father created this kind of technique. It can use the Twin Lion King's ability to create such a temporary space. This is the Earth. How big is Earth and how complicated the world inside is? Do you understand? That's your problem. Autumn Leaf crossed her arms. I've already told you the method. Whether or not you can complete this plan depends on your ability. Teach it to me. Li Fan didn't say anything else. No matter how complicated the technique was, it was still a method. He could use this ability to deceive beyond heaven and make them obediently come to Earth. I can only help you up to this point. Autumn Leaf imparted this set of techniques to Li Fan. The rest is up to you. Okay. Li Fan said goodbye to Autumn Leaf and carried the little princess's coffin back to the old butler's house. While Elder Wren was making arrangements, he could try out this technique of creating a world. Creating a new world. This should be a technique that only a venerable immortal can use. In Li Fan's inner world, White Tiger Lady, Vermilion Bird Yang Wenying, and Nine-Tailed Divine Fox Immerse were all standing beside Li Fan, studying this technique with him. Chapter 1760. Creating space is a top-notch Dharma spell that only immortal venerables know. The Nine-Tailed Divine Fox had been nurtured by Lin Tong in the past, so she knew more about these powerful cultivation techniques. You actually mastered a Dharma spell that even I don't know. You really deserve to die. She raised her eyebrows and scolded again. This sister was a little schizophrenic. Li Fan was already used to it. Logically speaking, this Dharma spell also has the concept of time in addition to the concept of space. Miss White Tiger was very pleased. The good thing is that apart from the power of the Twin Lion King, you also have a treasure that can control time. The Mirror of the Flower. Li Fan thought of the magical mirror that he had obtained by trickery. Yes, that's it. Miss White Tiger nodded. With these two added together, you might be able to master this Dharma spell. The Vermilion Bird and I, as the four sacred beasts, will also help you. Yes, I'll practice it first. Li Fan did not know if he could master it or not. However, there was only one way to save the little princess. He had to try whether it worked or not. Li Fan, don't be anxious. Isn't there a saying abroad that the city of Rome was not built in a day? Miss White Tiger comforted Li Fan. Yes, I will be patient. Li Fan also knew that he would not be able to eat hot tofu if he was anxious. After all, this was building a great world. No matter how amazing the cultivation technique was, it was still a delicate work. Li Fan sat in his mind and began to circulate this cultivation technique. He was surprised to discover that as his cultivation technique circulated, the Taiji diagram in his body seemed to have been injected with some kind of strange power and actually became active. Soon, the Taiji diagram began to expand, then shrink, and then expand violently. Li Fan vaguely felt that something was wrong. It wouldn't explode, would it? However, there should be no problem with the way he circulated his cultivation technique. There should be no problem with the mirror and the ability of the Twin Lion King. According to Miss White Tiger and the others, this method of creating a world was unique to immortal venerables. Only when one reached the level of an immortal reverend would one be able to form a world within one's body. As for the celestial reverend of sky beyond heaven, it seemed like he had no choice but to leave his home before he could create a world. Then, he hurriedly came here. After that, his body ran out of energy and he fell into a deep slumber. However, it was precisely because he had this ability that he was able to continuously produce spiritual crystals from his body. Immortal crystals were energy that belonged to the world, only then could they be used to replenish a person's life. He did not know if it would work if he relied on external objects to forcefully cultivate due to his lack of strength. However, for the sake of the little princess, for the sake of his family and friends on Earth, Li Fan decided to give it a shot. How many times had he taken the risk? He hoped that he could succeed this time. Li Fan cultivated for a day and a night. The energy in the Taiji painting seemed to have reached a limit. The Taiji diagram suddenly let out a loud sound, and then it actually exploded in Li Fan's body. Li Fan's body stiffened. Blood flowed out of his 7 apertures, and his vision darkened. He almost fainted. However, to his surprise, he was saved from the brink of death. The Taiji diagram shattered, but his cultivation was not affected. And at the place where the Taiji diagram shattered, there was a hazy nebula left behind. What did this mean? Could it be the Big Bang of the universe? Li Fan studied it carefully and found that this ball of luck did indeed contain a cosmic energy. He entered his inner vision and found that a unique space had formed in the nebula. Not bad, this is your little universe. Miss White Tiger's figure appeared beside Li Fan and looked at him with a gratified expression. Damn, I became a Saint Seiya. Oh, it's different from the cartoons you've seen. Miss White Tiger also had some understanding of modern culture. The concept is different. The little universe in Saint Seiya is a kind of energy, but your little universe is just your independent space. You can nurture your world here. This world will prosper or perish together with you. Li Fan's expression suddenly turned solemn. What's wrong? Is the pressure too much? No, I'm thinking about a question. If I can create a cosmos, then could the cosmos we are in be created by some great expert? That's possible. Miss White Tiger nodded. Do you still remember? You once went to the nine-tailed god Fox world through Lu Jinchan. That's right. That's right. I've understood her before. The world she was in was actually created by a great cosmos god. And this great cosmos god had to treat himself as the core to maintain the stability of the cosmos. Eventually, this great cosmos god got tired of it and found an inheritor before running away. Generation after generation of great cosmos gods slowly passed it down until the one you met. So that's how it is. Li Fan understood. No wonder he had met two great cosmos gods before. Our world might have such existences, or maybe not. Miss White Tiger said, I've never seen an existence at that level before. I hope there isn't. Otherwise, it would be too terrifying. Li Fan felt a chill just thinking about it. Let's not think so much first. Let's hurry up and create a solar system. Can't we just create an Earth? Of course not. Without the sun and moon, do you think an Earth can survive? Life is a very high-grade existence, and it isn't something that can be casually created. Damn, this is so troublesome. Li Fan did not expect that being a creator of cosmos would be so troublesome. How should I create this thing? Could it be like what the legends say? Just say a sentence and there will be light. Li Fan casually pointed at the void. A lump of intense light immediately appeared. Closely following that, in a distant place, a blazing planet gradually appeared in front of Li Fan. Damn, Li Fan was really convinced. This could work too. This is your world to begin with. Using your energy, you can create infinite possibilities. Fortunately, you have a certain understanding of the cosmos. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to create a world just by relying on imagination. Did she mean that he was a knockoff? Li Fan could not refute. Actually, he was quite happy that he had a direction. This way, he was one step closer to saving the little princess. Qiushuang, wait for me. I'll be able to save you soon. Li Fan began to copy according to his memory and understanding of the solar system. It was as if he was playing a creator's game. After spending an entire month, he finally succeeded in imitating the solar system in his little universe. According to Miss White Tiger, if life began to be born in his little universe, his power would also become stronger. The more life was born, the stronger he would be. However, borrowing life from the outside world would not work. In other words, the life that Li Fan collected from Earth and put into his own world would not strengthen his power. However, according to the formation of Earth, it would take tens of billions of years for life to be born. Li Fan suddenly thought of the myth of Nuwa creating humans. Could it be that he could create humans too? Chapter 1761. Li Fan suddenly felt that this was also possible. Li Fan was standing on the moon that he had created. The surroundings were very desolate. There was no oxygen or water. There were only barren rocks and dark cosmic energy. It would probably be very troublesome to create life here. Li Fan kicked his feet and his whole body immediately left the moon like a rocket. Then, he descended from the sky and landed on the blue planet below. In Li Fan's world, he would not dare to do this. But in this world, he was an omnipotent god. Li Fan quickly pierced through the atmosphere and then landed in a lush forest with a thud. A huge deep pit appeared on the ground and the surrounding trees collapsed. Li Fan stood up from the pit and raised his hands. The collapsed ground rose up again and the broken trees grew back as if they had never been broken. So cool. Li Fan did not want to go back. Here, he could do whatever he wanted. As long as his body did not die, this world would exist forever. When I am not around, there must be someone to help me continue creating the world. Then, Li Fan thought as he stretched out his hand. An image of a person appeared in his mind. Flesh and blood appeared in front of him. Then, a person's skeleton was also outlined. The organs entered the bones and the flesh and blood were carried on the bones. Li Fan seemed to be completing a work of art, constantly perfecting the body in front of him. Soon, a beautiful naked woman slowly appeared in front of Li Fan. But this person's eyes were dull and she stood there like a doll, motionless. Xiaoxue. Li Fan had created this person based on Feng Xiaoxue's appearance. But Feng Xiaoxue without a soul was just a doll. What if I use my own memory? Thinking of this, Li Fan stretched out his hand and pointed at his temple. In his mind, the memories of Feng Xiaoxue were extracted bit by bit, forming a ball of silver light that floated above his finger. Go! Li Fan sent the ball of light into Feng Xiaoxue's mind. Feng Xiaoxue slowly opened her eyes and stretched her body. When she saw Li Fan in front of her, she immediately knelt before him. Master. Li Fan was a little confused. Didn't I send Feng Xiaoxue's memory? Why are you calling me master? Replying to master, my body does indeed contain Feng Xiaoxue's memories. But this memory belonged to master. It was like a brand, imprinted in my body. But my life is not complete yet. Please bestow me with life energy, master. Aren't you already alive? You can still talk to me. That was a bit of energy left behind when master created me. Feng Xiaoxue winked at Li Fan. This little bit of energy can only keep me alive for a few minutes. I understand. Li Fan roughly understood what Feng Xiaoxue meant when he thought of the crystallization of the Celestial Prime's life energy, the immortal crystal. I'll give it a try. Li Fan separated the energy in his body and sent it into Feng Xiaoxue's body. It was indeed not easy to create life. Li Fan sent out almost half of his energy before he felt that Feng Xiaoxue's life force had a vigorous feeling. Thank you, master. It's enough. Feng Xiaoxue said as a white light flashed on her body. Soon, a student uniform that Li Fan was familiar with appeared on her body. I already have hundreds of millions of years of life. When master is not here, I can also help master create the world that master knows. With that, Feng Xiaoxue stretched out her hand and pointed to the side. Soon, a skyscraper rose from the ground and appeared in front of Li Fan. Fuck, it would have been better if you had done this earlier. Li Fan felt sad. If I knew that I could create a coolie, I wouldn't have worked so hard. Master is the god here, and I am master's god messenger. Feng Xiaoxue said happily, I am also very happy to know master here. It seems that the owner's emotions have affected me. Yeah, Li Fan couldn't help but stretch out his hand and gently caressed Feng Xiaoxue's cheek. It was really exactly the same. Unfortunately, it was not the real Xiaoxue. Xiaoxue was dead after all. It was impossible for her to come back to life. Here, he would just treat it as a memory for him. I will also pass a part of my memory to you. You can continue to perfect this world according to my method. This was temporarily a substitute for the human world. Li Fan had already heard the white tiger's warning and knew that someone had come. I will leave for now. I will leave this place to you. Yes, master. Feng Xiaoxue knelt down again. Li Fan closed his eyes. When he opened them again, he had already returned to the real world. Qiu Shuang was quietly lying in the coffin beside him. Li Fan looked at her and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Sleep a little longer. I will wake you up soon. After saying that, Li Fan's gaze fell on the door. The door of the old housekeeper's house was open from the outside. 2 rows of Elders Guild guards walked in and stood on both sides. Elder Ren strode in, holding a scepter that symbolized his authority. Li Fan. Elder Ren's scepter lightly tapped on Li Fan's shoulder. Kneel. If it was any other time, Li Fan would have already punched him. But today was different. He knew that Elder Ren was here to put on a show. Without hesitation, Li Fan knelt in front of Elder Ren. Although you are an earthling, seeing that you sincerely repent and are willing to submit to sky beyond heaven, the Elders Guild is willing to forgive your sins. We, the Elders Guild, are willing to forgive your sins and give you the title of Sinner King. After saying that, he extended his other hand. A guard next to him stepped forward and took out a set of black armor. This is the Sinner armor. It was forged by us, the 8 elders. After you wear it, you will be under the control of the Elders Guild. If you betray the Elders Guild, the armor will blow you to pieces. Thank you, Elder Ren. Li Fan knew that this was the insurance that Elder Ren gave to the Elders Guild. Although they were in an alliance, how could they not guard against this? Li Fan took the armor. The armor was like maggots on a bone. As soon as it touched him, it immediately covered his body. The shape of the armor was very similar to bones. After Li Fan wore it, it looked very strange. Coupled with his white hair, he looked even more ferocious. Sinner King, from today onwards, you are the #1 expert in the Elders Guild. Elder Ren gave Li Fan a blow, but he did not forget to give him a carrot. You have the same rights as the royal family. Other than obeying my orders, you can ignore anyone else's orders. Chapter 1762. Elder Ren, don't you think you're going overboard? At this moment, the second prince heard the news and arrived, followed by a few other elders. I was wondering why Elder Ren wanted us to forge this bone armor together a few days ago. Elder Li sneered. He crossed his arms and looked at Elder Ren coldly. So it's to subdue this loyal dog. Li Fan turned a deaf ear to him. He knew that there would be people who would be even more unhappy than him. Elder Ren said sternly, "Stop spouting nonsense. I subdued Li Fan for the sake of Avalon Beyond's great plan to unify Earth. He's an earthling. Why would he be willing to help you unify Earth? Are you crazy?" "That's right, Elder Ren. Are you getting old and muddle-headed? Even though you're the great elder, you can't mess around. You people are too paranoid." Elder Ren retorted, "Who says that earthlings are unreliable? Didn't you guys also nurture a martial emperor, Liao Ju? Back then, we also considered your opinion when we nurtured a martial emperor, right? Moreover, Liao Ju was on our side from the beginning while Li Fan is bent on destroying Avalon Beyond. How can they be the same? Elder Ren, you have to think this through." Elder Li stared at Elder Ren. "Don't ruin your reputation." Hee, what am I afraid of? The Sinner King is naturally willing to help me destroy humans in order to save the little princess. Elder Ren said without hesitation, I can guarantee the Sinner King's loyalty. On the other hand, can you guys? The other elders were obviously worried that Elder Ren was too powerful. The few elders were restraining each other and none of them could do anything to each other. However, Li Fan was obviously the strongest among them. Liao Ju, whom these people had painstakingly cultivated, was always beaten down by Li Fan the moment they met. They were all earthlings, so why was there such a huge difference? If Li Fan were to be controlled by Elder Ren, what would happen? In the future, wouldn't Avalon Beyond and even Earth be under Elder Ren's control? Elder Ren, as you can see, no one agrees with your idea. Are you going to be stubborn? So what if you object? Elder Ren looked disdainful. I didn't break any laws or regulations. Are you going to impeach me? How about this? Elderly suddenly said, we will kill Liao Ju, and you will kill Li Fan. How about it? Li Fan's heart turned cold. These old farts really turned hostile and refused to recognize him. He actually pitied the martial monarch. He probably didn't expect that the elders would treat him like a dog. He was probably even worse than a dog. He was more like a piece of trash that could be thrown away after being used. Why should I listen to you? However, Elder Ren rejected their request. The Sinner King has already pledged his allegiance to me, so I have to protect him. Betraying your own people is probably something you guys like to do. Li Fan did not feel grateful to Elder Ren. They were both old foxes. If this guy wanted to make use of him, he would definitely not sell him out so quickly. Stubborn. Elderly was a little unhappy. Have you really made up your mind? Elder Ren, think about it again. The crowd continued to persuade him. Alright, there's no need to say more. The Sinner King is now the chief warrior of the Elders Guild. This matter has been decided. Elder Ren waved his hand. I've made up my mind. Elder Ren, do you really think that you have the final say in the Elders Guild? Elderly was furious. You're not happy. Alright, according to the rules, we'll settle it with martial arts. Elder Ren laughed. Tomorrow, we'll settle it in front of the Spiritual King Palace. Elderly was speechless. Settling it with martial arts was a rule of the Elders Guild. The Elders Guild was immortal. However, if there was a conflict of opinion, they would choose a representative to fight it out in front of the Spiritual King Palace. Whoever won would have the final say. However, with Li Fan's strength, who in the Outland could fight him? If that's the case, let Liao Ju fight him. Elder Axayan, who had been silent all this while, suddenly spoke. He gave Elderly a look. Alright, it's settled then. Elderly knew that there was no other way. Some rules had to be followed. See you at the Spiritual King Palace at noon tomorrow. After saying that, Elderly and the others all looked at Li Fan coldly, and then left the housekeeper's house with the second prince and the others. A bunch of fools. After they left, Elder Ren hid his hands in his sleeves and sneered. Who in the Outland could be your opponent? I'll give it my all. Li Fan gave a simple reply. Alright, come to the Spiritual King Palace tomorrow. This will be your first show. Do well. Elder Ren gave a few instructions and left the room, leaving Li Fan and Qiu Shuang alone in the house. Sorry, I must have disturbed you. Li Fan walked to Qiu Shuang and said gently, don't worry, I won't let them be smug for too long. With that, Li Fan got into a training position and started to practice his martial arts. He had lost more than half of his martial arts and had to make up for it. Tomorrow was the battle with the Martial Emperor. He couldn't let him down. Elderly couldn't help but complain after walking for a short distance. Why did you agree just now? That Liao Ju can't do anything right. Don't worry, I've already thought of a countermeasure. Elderly took out an amber the size of a pigeon's egg from his sleeves and held it in his hand. Oh. This is nightmare. Elder Axayan smiled mysteriously. I kept it in the past. I see. You've been hiding this. It's also because I wanted to keep a trump card. I didn't expect it to come in handy today. Alright, I'll give it to Liao Ju. I hope he'll be smart. Don't worry, that human is very proud and doesn't want to lose. This way, he can only act according to our wishes. Great. As long as we can kill Li Fan, anything is fine. Hee hee, whenever I think of Elder Ren's bitter face, I can't help but feel happy. That old fellow should have died long ago. Both sides had their own ulterior motives. The sun set in the west and rose again. Li Fan arrived at the Spiritual King Palace according to the agreed time. Around the Spiritual King Palace, there were already many onlookers. The martial arts battle was a reserved program of Beyond Avalon. Those who could participate in the martial arts battle were all top experts. Was there anything more satisfying than watching a battle between experts? The battle between Li Fan and Liao Ju. Those two earthlings. Hee hee, this is going to be a good show. Their strengths are about the same, right? It seems like Li Fan is stronger. He is the one who killed the top expert of the imperial family. As soon as Li Fan arrived, he heard people talking about him and the martial emperor. Chapter 1763. This is the first time that two earthlings are fighting in Sky Beyond Sky. In particular, these two people are very strong, strong enough to surpass almost all the warriors in Sky Beyond Sky. The martial emperor is still wearing his beast armor, standing in front of the Spirit King Palace, looking at him coldly. Li Fan, after a few months, I didn't expect you to be reduced to a dog. The martial emperor is not stingy with his words, sharply mocking Li Fan. A barking dog is not fierce. Li Fan said calmly. Hee hee, your mouth is still so poisonous. The martial emperor gritted his teeth as he looked at Li Fan. No matter what, today's victory will be mine. Let's wait and see. Li Fan knows that the martial emperor will definitely fight to the death with him. This matter concerns the status of the two of them, as well as their living space. They will not hold back. He put the little princess's coffin aside and began to warm up. Everyone, today is the day of the martial competition. Elder Ren floated in the air and said in a loud voice, I have a disagreement with the elders, so we set the martial competition here. On the two sides of the martial competition, one is the Sinner King Li Fan, the other is the Earth Warrior trained by Elder Li and the others, Liao Ju. Regardless of the life and death of both sides, under the witness of the Spirit King, the victor will be decided. We will witness it together. Elder Li and the others also floated up. The 8 elders stood in 8 directions, paying attention to this martial competition. Alright, I announce that the martial competition officially begins. Under the expectant gazes of a group of spectators, the martial competition finally began. Strike first and gain the upper hand. The martial emperor's body instantly swelled to 5 or 6 meters tall and shot in front of Li Fan. With a beautiful 5 emperor divine palm, he slapped towards Li Fan's chest. Yellow Emperor rides the dragon. This palm was as fast as a gust of wind, setting off a terrifying wind wave in the surroundings, causing some of the nearby spectators to fall to the ground. Bang! However, Li Fan raised his right foot and kicked the martial emperor's palm, blocking his move. Li Fan, you have cultivated the invincible Vajra body, but I also have a way to deal with you. 4 arms grew out of the martial emperor's back. This King Emperor seal is specialized in breaking your diamond body. As he spoke, the martial emperor leaned forward once more, and his 6 palms simultaneously turned emerald green as they slapped down towards Li Fan. Paw paw paw. Li Fan also stretched out his hand to block a few times. However, he could feel a sharp pain coming from the point of collision every time. At the same time, he felt a burning sensation in his body. The name of your king's imperial seal is not bad. However, it should be called Poison Palm. Li Fan kicked the martial emperor away and asked. He, that's right, it's the Poison Palm. The martial monarch did not want to hide it from Li Fan. With his eyesight, he would definitely be able to see through it. But as long as I can break your golden body, it will be the King Emperor seal. The martial emperor roared, and once again arrived in front of Li Fan, his 6 hands crazily attacking Li Fan. Scram! The essence in Li Fan's body suddenly started to boil. Every cell in his body became an internal combustion engine, causing the essence to quickly burn, providing Li Fan with a powerful energy. In an instant, Li Fan's strength soared. He suddenly swung his leg, breaking through the martial monarch's 6 palms, and kicked him in the chest. Pfft! This stab of the leg immediately broke through the martial monarch's chest. The martial monarch's body flew out. He slid far away before barely managing to stabilize his body. As for Elder Li and the others, their expressions were also somewhat ugly. Before Li Fan could even use his full strength, the martial monarch had already been injured. The martial monarch was extremely unwilling, and even angry. At the beginning, Li Fan was just a small fry that he could pinch to death with a single stretch of his hand. Why was it that in the end, he was the one being beaten up by him? If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have nurtured him. Instead, he would have killed him to prevent future troubles. You can't win. Li Fan held his hands behind his back and stood there casually. He looked at the martial monarch and said, "Admit defeat. I am the martial monarch who reigns supreme under the heavens. I will only die, I will not lose." The martial monarch slowly took out an amber from his bosom and pinched it in his hand. The corner of Elder Li's mouth curled into a cold smile, while Elder Ren frowned. Nightmare. He never thought that they would still have such a trick up their sleeves. A bunch of treacherous old dogs. Possession. The martial monarch swallowed the amber in one gulp. Following that, he screamed in pain as his body continued to swell. However, this did not seem to be the kind of expansion that would actively strengthen the Dharma body. Instead, it seemed to be forcefully expanded by something. The skin on the martial monarch's body was also constantly dyed black. In just a few seconds, he had already swelled into a giant that was close to 10 meters tall. However, he had grown 2 heads. One was the head of the martial monarch, and the other was the head of a monster. It was extremely sinister. Looking at the martial monarch's chest, there was a huge blood-red eye. The eye revealed a strange light. To actually use a nightmare, Elder Li, aren't your people going too far? Elder Ren asked. There's no rule to not use a nightmare, right? Elder Li could not stop laughing. Elder Ren, are you afraid of losing? Humph, don't underestimate the Sinner King. He is the warrior with the most potential. Now that things had come to this, they could only place their hopes on Li Fan. Li Fan stood in front of the spiritual king palace and directly felt the powerful aura emitted by the 2-headed giant in front of him. This aura was close to that of a heaven immortal, causing Li Fan to feel a little breathless. Huff, huff, the martial monarch's 2 heads simultaneously let out heavy breaths. He seemed to be adapting to his new body and new power. The nightmare was a terrifying monster that liked to parasitize the human body. Once one fused with the nightmare, one's strength would be greatly enhanced. With the martial monarch's strength, the nightmare directly brought him close to the strength of a heaven immortal. However, this power was not obtained for nothing. From today onwards, the martial monarch could only live as this monster. Li Fan. You must pay the price. The eye on the martial monarch's chest was extremely red, as if it would drip blood at any moment. When Li Fan was stared at by this eye, his body suddenly froze and he actually felt that he could not move. The martial monarch let out a strange cry as 2 more arms grew out from his back. A total of 8 arms shot out a green palm print at the same time. Bang! Li Fan's body was instantly sent flying by the palm print. He spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground far away. Elder Ren knew that things were not looking good. Soul-suppressing eye. It had the same ability as the soul-suppressing nail and could temporarily seal Li Fan's movements. Just as Li Fan crawled up, his body stiffened again as the blood-red eye once again sealed him. 8 green palm prints descended from the sky and smashed onto Li Fan's body. Bang! Li Fan was smashed into the ground, causing thick smoke to billow out. This emperor is the strongest. The martial monarch felt the call of victory as he excitedly roared. Pathetic. Unknowingly, Li Fan was standing on the martial monarch's shoulder with lightning swimming around his body. Chapter 1764. You've already become a monster, what's the point of becoming stronger? What right do you have to say that? The martial monarch roared, the monster's head turned around, and shot out a black beam of light at Li Fan. This ray of light clearly carried a destructive power. However, this beam of light only penetrated Li Fan's shadow. Li Fan's figure appeared in the distant square in the blink of an eye. Unknowingly, he was holding a long sword in his hand. The sword's body was scarlet red, and there was a fox head on the hilt. It was obvious that it was a treasure sword formed by the 9-tailed divine fox. He was dressed in black bone armor, and his white hair fluttered gently in the wind. After mastering the world's ability, Li Fan's control over his divine beast's ability had improved. Idiot! The martial emperor laughed out loud. As long as he was within his line of sight, he was dead for sure. The red eyes lit up once again, preparing to lock Li Fan in place. Ha 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 ha, die! The martial monarch threw out 8 large green handprints, which flew towards the frozen Li Fan. Boom boom boom. However, these palm prints penetrated Li Fan's body and landed on the ground in the distance, causing the ground to explode. Li Fan had already appeared beside the martial emperor in the blink of an eye. At the same time, the scarlet sword in his hand had already pierced through the martial emperor's monster's head. Ew! The monster's head screamed miserably. The martial emperor was also in pain, but he immediately extended his hands and grabbed towards Li Fan. Once again, he only caught a shadow. This eye of yours can't keep up with my speed, so it's useless. Unknowingly, Li Fan was once again standing on the martial emperor's shoulder. Li Fan! Die! The martial emperor continued to roar as he slapped his shoulder with his palm. However, he only managed to shatter the afterimage of Li Fan. Dragon subduing sword, 9 dragons wreaking havoc in the sea. Li Fan's voice sounded. At the same time, 9 figures stabbed out with their swords at the same time, piercing through the martial emperor's body. Li Fan landed on the ground in the end, while the martial emperor's body shattered, turning into pieces of flesh that scattered in the surroundings. As Elder Ren's smile bloomed, the lightning on Li Fan's body gradually dissipated. Looks like the outcome has been decided. Damn it! This martial monarch is useless. Even Incubus can't do it. One family rejoiced while the others were worried. While Elder Ren was basking in success, the other elders almost exploded in anger. This Li Fan is actually so troublesome, Elder Li's heart felt as if a huge rock was pressing down on it. Even she was unable to capture Li Fan's movements just now. This man was too terrifying. If he was not restrained by Elder Ren, perhaps, he could even threaten their lives. Impossible, they had set up the soul detachment technique. As long as they regularly consumed immortal crystals, they would be immortal and indestructible. No one could destroy them, and no one could shake their rule. From today onwards, the Sinner King is the strongest warrior in the realm beyond Avalon. Elder Ren announced loudly, he will work together with the Crown Prince to carry out the 100-day plan. The 100-day plan is going to be carried out just like that. Elderly was a little shocked when she heard that. Hee, do you really think that I subdued the Sinner King for myself? Elder Ren immediately said, as long as the 100-day plan is carried out, we can stand on the land that originally belonged to us. Then it's up to you. Even if Elderly was unwilling, there was no other way. Elder Ren had won the martial battle, so he had the right to decide. Sinner King, Crown Prince, Second Prince, come with me. Elder Ren was about to start setting up the 100-day plan. He brought Li Fan and the two princes to a room in the Spiritual King Palace and set up a soundproof enchantment. Princes, now that things have come to this, please let go of your grudges first. Elder Ren looked at the two princes and said, between the two of you, one of you will definitely become the Supreme Emperor. The two princes looked at each other and saw the hostility in each other's eyes. Two tigers cannot share one mountain, that was for sure. To choose an emperor, it will have to be after the earth is unified. Elder Ren continued, only a true emperor is worthy of that vast land. Ambition. The two princes had the same thought in their eyes. They wanted to occupy the largest land and become the true emperor. However, Li Fan felt a little sad. There were only a few people left in the realm beyond Avalon. Even if they were to become the emperor, what was the point? Power, status, no matter when, there would always be people who liked it. Unfortunately, with him here, their ambitions would come to nothing in the end. Moreover, the earth is so big. Even if both of you want to become emperor, there's nothing impossible. Elder Ren's words made the two of them tremble. Two emperors. When the sun shines on the earth, the other part will become darkness. The two of you can use this as a boundary and rule separately. Isn't that great? Elder Ren's suggestion was a good idea. The Crown Prince coughed twice. Cough cough, perhaps that's possible. That's an idea. For the sake of balance between the royal family, I'm willing to make some sacrifices. Although the two princes did not like each other, they tacitly took a step back. That's good. Elder Ren was pleased. This way, his plan could be further implemented. There's also progress in the development of the passionless pill. Princes, both of you can lead an army and enter the human world first. The immortal sovereign has also reached his limit and needs to rest for a period of time. I've discussed with a few elders and decided to go into hibernation for 100 days. We only need 100 days. The Crown Prince Chiu you could not help but ask. Yes, let the immortal sovereign have a short rest during these 100 days. We'll go into hibernation and leave the resources of the realm beyond Avalon to the immortal sovereign alone. Elder Ren nodded, however, the 100 days is also the deadline for you to decide the winner. During these 100 days, you must destroy all the humans on Earth. If you fail, then the plan will be aborted and will be forced into hibernation for 100 years. Leave it to me. The Crown Prince laughed, as long as you give me 10 Dragon Knights, I'll be able to sweep the human world. Big Brother is really confident. The second prince waved his fan and laughed, there are still some experts on Earth. What's there to be afraid of? Isn't there still the Sinner King? The Crown Prince glanced at Li Fan who was carrying a coffin. His royal sister's sacrifice brought a powerful loyal dog to the realm beyond Avalon. But thinking about it, he felt a little unhappy. They were the primordial gods, the high and mighty gods. Why were they inferior to a mere human? Damn it. But no matter how powerful he is, he's just a loyal dog now. Chapter 1765. Li Fan looked at them coldly, thinking to himself that they were dreaming. Why did Elder Ren send these two down? It was to keep an eye on him. They slept soundly for 100 days and got two princes to supervise his work. However, Elder Ren, I have a question. The Crown Prince laughed strangely. When we are down there, will the Sinner King listen to me or second brother? There was a hidden meaning behind this question. He doesn't listen to anyone. Elder Ren rejected the two princes with one sentence. When we are down there, you only have the right to supervise, but not to command. Elder Ren, do you trust him that much? The second prince could not help but ask. Of course, I believe that the Sinner King wants to destroy Earth more than us, right? That's right. Li Fan nodded. Within 100 days, I will slaughter all humans. However, when will this 100-day plan be implemented? The passionless pill still needs some time to be refined, so it should be in 2 months. Li Fan calculated in his mind. In about 2 months, the gods of heavens beyond would have to enter hibernation. And these 2 months would be a good opportunity for him to recuperate and cultivate properly. Li Fan took the opportunity to ask Elder Ren for the key to the immortal reverend tomb, then went to the advanced training room that only the elders could control, and began his 2-month closed-door cultivation. The place controlled by the elders was indeed very different from the room that Li Fan used to cultivate in. Perhaps because it was closer to the immortal reverend, the spiritual energy here was denser, even a little sticky. After Li Fan locked himself in the training room, he began to cultivate seriously. He also took the treasure flower pearl back, wiped it clean, and placed it in his mouth. The universe in his body began to operate, and the surrounding spiritual energy was absorbed into Li Fan's body. But this time, the spiritual energy was no longer released. The Taiji diagram revolved around yin and yang, but the universe was different. It could only absorb external energy to enhance the strength of the universe itself. Li Fan was now like a bottomless pit. No matter how much he ate, it would not be enough. Now, Li Fan's training posture had also changed. He crossed his arms and sat cross-legged. His body was slightly floating in the air, about 2 fingers height from the ground. 2 months quickly passed. Before entering the 100 days, Li Fan first entered his inner vision. He wanted to see how far Feng Xiaoxue had built her world. His spirit body instantly arrived in the small universe and floated above Earth. As a result, he realized that this place was no different from Earth. There were modern buildings everywhere on Earth, divided into different countries and cities. If it wasn't for the fact that there was no one around, he would have thought that he had returned to Earth. Master! A somewhat excited voice sounded in Li Fan's ear. Li Fan turned his head and saw Feng Xiaoxue wearing a cute little dress floating beside him. Little Shui, you're too fast. Li Fan was a little shocked. Hee, thank you for your praise, Master. Feng Xiaoxue laughed and clapped her hands. On Earth, 4 huge waves of energy suddenly appeared. These 4 energies had 4 colors. They were cyan, white, red, and black. The energies landed in front of him and turned into 4 giant beasts. Azure Dragon, Vermilion Bird, White Tiger, and Black Tortoise. The 4 divine beasts' bodies shrank again and turned into the appearance of 4 people. Li Fan looked and realized that these 3 men and 1 woman looked similar to his junior high school classmates. Maybe they were created based on Feng Xiaoxue's memory. Greetings, God. The 4 divine beasts also knelt in front of Li Fan. These are, Master, I created them with my power. They are the 4 divine beasts. Feng Xiaoxue reported to Li Fan, they can help me transform this world. Are you satisfied? Amazing, Li Fan couldn't help but praise. He felt that Feng Xiaoxue was too intelligent. God, you are really too great. Seeing Li Fan, these divine beasts seem to be a little excited. Can I touch your hand? Nonsense, do you think you can touch my god's hand? Touching my feet is more than enough. You are right. My God, it is my honor to be able to look at your face. The few divine beasts cried and shouted. They were surging with passion. All of you, step back. Feng Xiaoxue scolded, what are you doing? She was quite dignified. The divine beasts hurriedly took 2 steps back and didn't dare to make a sound. Master, the replication of Earth is almost done. Feng Xiaoxue continued to report, it can basically be put to use. Very good, Li Fan nodded. If that's the case, my plan is half successful. According to Miss White Tiger, as long as he killed humans, he would be able to send them to his little universe. Of course, he wouldn't really kill them, but use his own power to collect them. This matter must be hidden from them and not let the people from Sky Beyond Sky find out. Once they find out, it would be very difficult to carry out his plan. I really want to see Master's world. Feng Xiaoxue said enviously, it must be very exciting. In the future, the number of people here will gradually increase. Li Fan was full of confidence, although I don't know how long it will take, it's always a thought. Feng Xiaoxue analyzed, according to the growth rate of this world, the first batch of life will appear in 300 million years. However, if we were to manufacture it, it would only take a few years for the first batch to appear. Not bad. Li Fan was also a little excited. He really wanted to see what his world would become after it grew up. You continue to work on it. There might be people coming in 2 days. Li Fan instructed Feng Xiaoxue. Don't worry, Master, I also look forward to other life coming in. Feng Xiaoxue's eyes were also filled with anticipation. This world was still too monotonous. With more life coming in, it would be interesting. You have to protect them. Li Fan continued to remind Feng Xiaoxue, in this world, don't let them get hurt. Master, I got it. Feng Xiaoxue also instructed the other 4 divine beasts, all of you remember, protect the life in this world. The 4 of you will be guarding in 4 different directions. Do you hear me? Yes, Lord Oracle. The 4 divine beasts hurriedly responded. They had to carry out the chief god's orders. All right, I won't talk to you anymore. I'll come back after some time. Li Fan calculated the time. It was about time. He opened his eyes and returned to the real world. Indeed, the door to the training room was slowly opening. Elder Ren stood in front of him. It's time, Sinner King. It's time for you to prove your loyalty. Li Fan nodded. He carried Qiu Shuang's coffin on his back and followed Elder Ren out of the training room. Chapter 1766. The first prince gets what he wanted and leads the 10 Dragon Tiger Cavalry. The second prince leads the 20 royal guards with the streaming fire seal. Just like that, he and Li Fan pass through the passage and arrive at the human world. They have all taken the passionless pill. In theory, they have absolute immunity to love. Li Fan follows them. Like an immortal, he steps on a cloud and descends from the sky. So this is the human world. The first prince and the others land on top of a tall building. Looking down at the heavy traffic, he says, "Ah, the air here is really..." He takes a deep breath and coughs. Damn, the air here is too bad. Humans are really lowly creatures. How can they make such a good place into such a foul atmosphere? Yeah, these lowly creatures don't deserve to have such a place. The second prince says indignantly, "Everyone, let's not waste any more time. Let's start a massacre and teach these humans a lesson." The 10 Dragon Tiger Cavalry and the 20 Royal Guards roar in unison. They prepare to jump down from the skyscraper and attack. Li Fan doesn't say anything. He just stands at the side with the coffin on his back. If he wants the humans to be transferred successfully, he must rely on himself to collect them. If the first prince and the others kill them, it will be useless. But just at this moment, they suddenly hear a series of bang, bang, bang sounds. This sound comes from far away and gradually gets closer to the location of the skyscraper. Everyone turns their heads and see that from a distance, a figure is stepping on the surrounding buildings and quickly approaching them. Every time he steps on a building, there will be a heavy sound. Who is it? The first prince and the second prince look at each other and see the contempt in each other's eyes. The earthlings found us. Hee, a little earthling wants to fight against us. What a joke. Send someone to kill him. The two princes don't take this earthling seriously. His figure has already jumped to the top of the skyscraper. At this moment, everyone can see his appearance clearly. This person is dressed in black and has a tiger mask on his head. He had a robust body, and as soon as he arrived in front of everyone, he immediately raised his tiger claw. Li Fan pushed the two princes away, and 4 deep and terrifying claw marks appeared on the building. Several dragon tiger riders were directly torn into minced meat and scattered in the surroundings. What? The two princes were quite frightened, but the eldest prince was a martial artist after all, so he quickly calmed down and gave orders to the other royal guards. Flowing fire seal, fire. The 20 royal guards immediately took out their streaming fire seals and attacked the tiger-headed man. However, the tiger-headed man was too strong. He waved his fists and feet and easily repelled the fireballs. Following that, he passed through the sea of fire and arrived in front of the royal guards. Like a wolf in a flock of sheep, he swung his claws and tore the guards in front of him into pieces. What kind of strength does this person have? Why is he so strong? The two princes couldn't believe what they were seeing. Why were there so many experts on Earth? Other than Li Fan and Liao Ju, there were also experts of this level. The tiger-headed man quickly charged into the dragon tiger riders. These super cavalry that could sweep through everything in sky beyond Avalon were no match for the tiger-headed man. In the blink of an eye, they were all killed. The tiger-headed man turned his head and his gaze fell on the two princes. Sinner King, quickly protect us. The second prince shouted while trembling. Clang! Li Fan flew forward and raised his leg, kicking the tiger-headed man's claw. The tiger-headed man took 2 steps back and stood at the edge of the building, staring at Li Fan. He hesitated for a moment and stopped. Trying to escape. Li Fan raised his hand and was about to attack. However, the tiger-headed man instantly retreated and jumped off the edge of the building, disappearing without a trace in the blink of an eye. Why did you let him escape? The eldest prince angrily shouted at Li Fan. He's going to die anyway, so it doesn't matter if I chase him or not. Li Fan coldly replied. Bastard, why didn't you protect the dragon tiger riders and the royal guards? The eldest prince questioned. They are warriors, right? Li Fan mercilessly retorted, my mission is to destroy humanity, not to protect you. I'm already doing you a favor by protecting you two pieces of trash. You actually said we are trash. The two princes were furious. Motherfucker, he actually called us trash, this is too much. However, Li Fan did indeed have the qualifications to say these words. His strength was close to that of the few elders. On Earth, without the elders to protect them, the two princes can only swallow their anger. Forget it, I don't want to lower myself to your level. There won't be a next time. The two princes found a way out of this embarrassing situation. Leave the matter of killing the humans to me. Li Fan expressionlessly said, within 100 days, I will definitely destroy the entire human race. What else can the two princes do? Li Fan's fist is the biggest now, he has the final say. The two princes can only agree. What should we do next? The eldest prince asked Li Fan's opinion. I will arrange a place for the two princes to stay first. No, I must follow you. The second prince is not at ease with Li Fan. What if you don't do anything? Rest assured, for Qiu Shuang, I will complete the 100-day plan. Looking at Li Fan carrying Qiu Shuang's coffin, the two princes calmed down a little. What can this kid not do for Qiu Shuang? Moreover, if the two princes follow me, if another tiger-faced man appears, I might not be able to protect you both. The other party came prepared, it should be the Earthlings who sensed our arrival. All right. The two princes can only agree, they have no other choice. Therefore, Li Fan arranged for the two princes to stay in a hotel, instructing them not to attract attention. Once an expert is attracted, the two of them can only wait for death. After getting rid of the two troublesome fellows, Li Fan was relieved. This time, it was quite a risk. The tiger-faced man with a mask was none other than his clone. The clone has half of his strength, although it is not as strong as a heaven immortal, it is enough to bully those grandmasters. After getting rid of the two princes, the first thing Li Fan did was to contact Lu Wan. With her company, he went to a live streaming platform under his family's name to do a live streaming. Li Fan. You. What are you trying to do? Looking at Li Fan's white hair, bone armor, and carrying a silver coffin, Lu Wan suddenly felt that this junior who she loved for a long time is a little unfamiliar. Chapter 1767. Although they have been separated for a long time, Lu Wanner still loves this junior brother of hers. Especially now that he has a head full of white hair and a look of sadness in his eyes, Lu Wanner could not help but feel distressed. What happened to you? Lu Wanner gently pulled Li Fan's arm and looked at him lovingly. If you have something on your mind, tell me. Senior sister. Li Fan stroked Lu Wanner's hair. There are some things that only I can bear alone. But... Before Lu Wanner could finish her words, Li Fan's palm was placed on her chest. Under the shocked eyes of the employees, Li Fan released his palm power and pierced through Lu Wanner's chest. Lu Wanner's beautiful eyes opened wide and her body began to collapse. Like data being deleted, she quickly disappeared in front of everyone. Boss Lu. Oh my God, murder. Quickly call the police. The employees were panicking, but Li Fan reached out and grabbed a silver sickle. This sickle was more than 10 meters long and the blade was like lightning. Li Fan swept his gaze and those employees who were ready to escape or call the police were directly cut in half by Li Fan's sickle. Then their bodies slowly disintegrated and disappeared without a trace. The remaining employees were squatting on the ground, shivering. Sorry to trouble you, but the program still needs to be recorded. Li Fan pointed at the recording machine. These people did not dare to resist and obediently went to arrange the machine for Li Fan. Li Fan crossed his arms and sat on the chair, carrying the man-beheading sickle that had returned to its normal size. Li Fan could not tell anyone about this ability. The bone armor on Li Fan's body was not a good thing. Anything he said would be sent back to sky beyond sky by the bone armor. This thing was used by Elder Ren to control him and had a monitoring function. Once Li Fan leaked the news to someone, the Grand Elder would immediately know. He even calculated the martial arts technique, including the secret sound transmission. No matter what method was used to leak the secret, it would definitely be detected by the Great Elder. Even if he were to use his clone to inform others, it would increase the possibility of the secret being leaked. At this juncture, it was better to hide everything. It was enough for him to know. It was okay to be a bad guy once in a while. As long as he could save the Earth and wake up the little princess, it didn't matter if he was despised by thousands of people. "Boss, the live broadcast is ready," a female employee said to Li Fan while trembling with fear. Li Fan nodded and walked in front of the camera. Soon, an explosive live broadcast was uploaded to the internet. Li Fan, the man known as the #1 in the world, stood in front of the camera and said coldly to everyone. "Everyone, my name is Li Fan, and I'm the leader of the martial arts circle in Huaxia. The reason why I'm streaming this time is to tell everyone something. Cherish your lives. Within 100 days, I will kill all humans and destroy this world." How fast is the modern internet? In less than half an hour, this piece of news had been seen by the whole world. Some people ignored it, and some people disdained it. Some people were angry, and some people were frightened. Who is this guy? Is he hyping it up? Destroy the world. Just by him. Why does anyone dare to come out and brag these days? Most people didn't believe it, but a small number of people who knew Li Fan's identity were already restless. Is he crazy? Director Nyo of the Martial Arts General Administration slammed the table angrily. "I've said it before, this kind of person is a born criminal. We should have gotten rid of him long ago." "Perhaps he has a reason." General Rand sat opposite him. A group of military and political leaders were sitting in this office, holding an emergency meeting. Who was Li Fan? The leader of the martial arts circle, worthy of the name. There was no one in the world who was stronger than him. "Humph, fortunately, I didn't listen to you." Director Nyo sneered. "I have long prepared a secret weapon." When General Rand heard this, his eyebrows wrinkled. "What secret weapon?" "A special, armed team." Director Nyo's mouth hung a confident smile. General Rand angrily rebuked. "Who gave you the right to create an army?" No, they are not an army, just an emergency team." Director Nyo emphasized, "There are only 7 people, but the ability of these 7 people is not worse than that Li Fan. The most important thing is that they are obedient and absolutely loyal to us." "You're messing around." General Rand angrily rebuked. I'm authorized." Director Nyo took out a letter of authorization. "I knew you would find fault. Everything I did was in line with the rules." Li Fan, to put it lightly, is an anarchist. To put it more seriously, he is a terrorist. If we indulge him, we're letting down those who support us down. You're really filled with righteous indignation." General Rand sneered at him. "What about you? How much money did you burn to create that so-called team? Do you think this team is really useful to Li Fan?" "Of course it's useful." Director Nyo said without hesitation, "They are the real guardian of China. If Li Fan meets them, he can only wait for his death." Before he finished his words, a secretary rushed into the room in a panic. "I'm sorry. I have urgent news. What's the matter? Why are you so flustered?" Director Nyo glared at him. It's Li Fan," he broke in. "How is this possible?" Director Nyo frowned. "There is a whole army stationed outside. They are all annihilated." The secretary's voice was trembling. "Are you kidding me? How many people did he bring? Did he bring his entire mercenary group? And his big sword guard mecha?" Just one person." "What? One person?" "There is also a strange red warhorse. 1 person and 1 horse to kill my entire army." Director Nyo gave the secretary a slap. "Are you confused?" But, the special team is also here. They can stop this guy." "The special team is also annihilated." What? Director Nyo was shocked. What means did he use? Just one move. With a wave of the sickle, they are all dead, the secretary continued to explain. To be precise, they all disappeared. It's like they evaporated from the world. You must be lying to me. Director Nyo grabbed the secretary's collar and roared at him. If you dare to talk nonsense again, I will remove you from your position. I really didn't. Before the secretary could finish speaking, the ceiling of the office was suddenly cut in half. A figure wearing bone armor fell from the sky and landed on the desk with a thud. Chapter 1768. A white-haired youth stood on the desk, wearing a frosty white bone armor and carrying a silver coffin on his back. Li Fan, General Ran just subconsciously shouted, and the white-haired youth turned around and swung the sickle in his hand. General Ran's head flew up, and his body quickly disintegrated, disappearing without a trace. The other higher-ups in the office were scared, and Chief Nyo almost peed his pants. Li Fan, calm down. Before he finished speaking, Li Fan had already pierced his body with the sickle and sent him flying into the air. Then, his body also disintegrated. Li Fan, what the hell do you want to do? A higher-up tried his best to remain calm, looked at Li Fan, and asked. Destroy. Li Fan only dropped these two words. Why? What's in it for you? The higher-up asked. You don't need to know. In the next second, his body also disintegrated. Li Fan easily destroyed half of China in less than 10 days. He didn't stop. In the panic of the world, this man known as the emissary of hell had already invaded other countries from China. At this moment, Li Fan was standing on his Li family's island. In front of him was Imperial concubine Zhou. Are you sure you want to do this? Imperial concubine Zhou looked at Li Fan. The eyebrows of this imperial concubine were slightly knitted together. Around her, there was already a ruin. Li Fan was riding on a 6-legged giant horse, carrying a coffin and a sickle, looking at her with a blank expression. Li Fan nodded. Just now, he had slaughtered almost all the people on Li family's island. Now, Li family's island was a deserted island, with almost no one living there. Where are the others? Li Fan found that many experts on Li family's island were not there. Most of them were taken away by Lin Luo. Imperial concubine Zhou sighed. When he saw that message, he knew that you have changed. But I don't believe it. I want to see with my own eyes how you kill me. Will the others leave? That's unlikely. Li Fan looked around. They trust me more than Lin Luo. It's because I trust you that I left. Imperial concubine Zhou looked at Li Fan, trying to see through his mind. He told everyone that you have a big plan and wants everyone to avoid it. I see. Li Fan nodded. Indeed, this made sense. Then why don't you leave? Because I want to see if you have the ability to kill me. Imperial concubine Zhou bitterly smiled. Her long hair fluttered behind her, and her white dress also fluttered. You've lived too long. Li Fan said, I'm going to free you now. I'm looking forward to it. Like a ghost, Imperial concubine Zhou instantly appeared in front of Li Fan. She raised her hand. Her palm was as white as jade, and she clawed at Li Fan. Netherworld Ghost Claw. This was a move that Imperial concubine Zhou had never used in front of others. This was her trump card. It's not that Imperial concubine Zhou didn't want to use this move, but no one was worthy of this move. Netherworld Ghost Claw, as long as it was used, it would pull out the tendons and peel the bones. However, Li Fan's sickle was faster. Imperial concubine Zhou only felt a flash in front of her, and her body had already been cut into two. A sense of powerlessness quickly wrapped around her. This Is this death? Imperial concubine Zhou's consciousness was also in a trance. She subconsciously wanted to grab Li Fan's hand. At least before she died, she could lie in his arms. But before Imperial concubine Zhou could hug Li Fan, her body had completely disappeared. Li Fan carried his sickle and stood on the deserted Li family's island, looking around. In the sky, a drone was filming Li Fan the whole time. No one knew which media it was. Li Fan faced the drone, stretched out his hand, and made a gesture of cutting his neck. At this moment, the people in front of the camera went crazy. This Li Fan was too scary. He killed so many people alone, and he even slaughtered the Li family's island that he built with his own hands. Soon, a cold voice came into everyone's ears through the drone. The next place is the United States. The great United States was actually threatened. Almost in the blink of an eye, the entire military force of the United States was mobilized. How can a mere human threaten the United States? The President of the United States, sitting in his office, shouted to the cabinet in front of him. Deploy our armaments and kill this damn terrorist. I want the world to know the strength of the United States. The joint forces have gathered at the third port. The defense minister immediately reported, we tracked Li Fan's signal. In about an hour, he will arrive at the third port. Very good, teach this arrogant brat a good lesson. President. Do you want to ask for the power of number 9? Number 9, oh, the great number 9, can you help me get an autograph? As soon as the president finished speaking, the Secretary of State next to him coughed twice. Oh, yes, no need. The president waved his chubby little hand. How many billions of dollars do we spend on military every year? We have money, we will use money to smash that little bitch to death. The group of cabinet members were speechless. The Secretary of State coughed again, and the president quickly changed his words. Kill the terrorist, protect our country. Yes. Mr. President. Everyone responded in unison. Their united look made people want to pee. At this moment, Li Fan was already riding Ruby, stepping on the waves, and approaching the third port of the United States. This Ruby was indeed a precious horse. He didn't realize it when he was in the sky beyond heaven, but when he came to the human world, he actually found out that this guy could fly on the water. Dividing the water and stepping on the waves, it was really a divine horse. At the third port, rows of aircraft carriers were waiting for Li Fan. Such a huge navy made Li Fan couldn't help but laugh. Qiu Shuang, look, they are so welcoming to me. President, look, this is Li Fan. Through the drone in the air, the camera located Li Fan from several directions and immediately sent the image to the president who was sitting in the command office. Where is this oriental horse produced? The president pointed at the ruby and asked, quick, go and buy me one of these horses. Cough cough. President, give the order to fight. The Secretary of State was about to cough blood. Oh, kill this terrorist. It's best to keep his horse. At this moment, the president was the commander-in-chief of the United States. Under his order, from the Navy in the distance, a dense rain of missiles was launched toward Li Fan, overwhelming the sky and the earth. This kind of money-burning barrage attack was the product of the United States. Chapter 1769. The missiles that blotted out the sky and covered the earth instantly attacked, pressing down on Li Fan's head. Li Fan looked at the rain of missiles above his head, but there was no fear on his face. If it was many years ago, he would have a headache. But now, Li Fan's strength is close to that of a sky immortal. Why would he care about this kind of attack? Boom boom boom. Countless barrage of bullets exploded, half of the sea turned red, and waves of fire surged everywhere. Seeing this scene from the drone, the president laughed out loud. Did you see that? He has already gone to see God. No, this guy should be going to see Satan. In short, this kid has already died under our invincible artillery. But soon, the president could not laugh anymore. The flames of the barrage slowly dissipated, and Li Fan's figure once again appeared in front of everyone. He sat on a fiery red warhorse, holding a deadly scythe with a sneer on his face. How is he still alive? The president was a bit dumbfounded. Oh my God, is he Satan? He is definitely not Satan, but this person should have practiced some kind of golden shield or iron shirt. A Chinese cabinet member whispered in the president's ear. Oh, can I practice this golden bra? The president asked subconsciously. Hearing the Secretary of State cough, he quickly changed his words. Then how should we deal with this ability? Can't our missiles do anything to him? Looks like it won't work. The defense minister suggested, and the opponent is only one person, such a dense barrage attack may have little effect. I want a way. We can mobilize the divine guards. Oh, no, I don't want to mobilize them. It's the last resort now, Mr. President. The divine guards are the secret weapons created by America. The reason why the president does not want to mobilize them is that the divine guards are completely modeled after Li Jiao's great sword guards. This is the first time that a dignified American empress is copying someone else's technology. If this gets out, it will definitely become a joke. No, I don't want to. Mr. President, please make a decision. Everyone tried to persuade him. You forced me, I clearly do not want to. But we are a democratic country. So, let's send out the divine guards. The president finally gave the order. Then, mechas shot out from the aircraft carriers one after another. Although these mechas were copied from the Li family island's great sword guards, there were still some differences in appearance. They also had the logo of the American flag printed on their bodies, symbolizing the spirit and combat power of the United States. It was time to witness the huge military machine of the United States. In the blink of an eye, 200 mechas were ejected from the aircraft carrier and flew into the air. These mechs all pulled out their alloy swords and shields and then surrounded Li Fan, closing in. Their alloy swords and shields were specially made. The shields could block nuclear bombs, and the big swords could cut through the mecha of main battle tanks. 200 of such powerful super weapons were enough to conquer an entire country. But now, it was only used to deal with one man, and that man was Li Fan. A mecha had already rushed behind Li Fan, and the huge alloy sword in its hand swept toward Li Fan's small body. However, Li Fan stretched out his hand and actually used his bare hands to block the huge sword. Then, he leaped from the back of the horse and kicked the mecha. Boom! The mecha was instantly kicked out and spun a few times in the air before finally smashing into the sea, its entire body twisted and deformed. Li Fan turned around a few times and continuously smashed several mechas with his fists. Then, Li Fan began to show off. His body suddenly began to expand, and in the blink of an eye, Li Fan grew to a height of 4 meters, and the scythe in his hand was also close to 100 meters long. Oh my God, is he a small giant? The president could not believe his eyes. This Li Fan was a little too magical, wasn't he? Li Fan waved the scythe and instantly cut the surrounding mechas in half. For a moment, the morale of the American army plummeted. Everyone regarded Li Fan as a terrifying demon. Li Fan took the opportunity to jump up and kill his way into the American army with his scythe. His scythe was unobstructed. Whether it was steel or artillery shells, they were all easily cut in half by him. More and more lives were reaped by Li Fan. In the end, Li Fan directly raised the scythe high and 4 rays of light continuously revolved around him. Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise. After killing the martial emperor, Li Fan conveniently collected the two holy beasts in his body. At this time, in order to make everyone despair, Li Fan simply used a big move. Unparalleled under the heavens. A tall figure suddenly popped out from behind Li Fan. His energy continued to condense behind him and quickly formed a huge figure. This figure was almost 100 meters tall. Following Li Fan's roar, the arms fiercely smashed into the sea. There was a loud boom. A huge mushroom cloud directly soared into the sky. Li Fan's power spread out like a nuclear bomb had detonated. In the blink of an eye, it spread to a radius of thousands of kilometers. In outer space, one could see a mass of energy exploding on the blue planet. It was extremely terrifying. This was Li Fan's full-powered attack. The energy lasted for a full 10 minutes before slowly dissipating. However, 10 minutes later, not only was the third port completely annihilated, even the surrounding cities were destroyed. Many citizens were also expropriated by Li Fan's power and disappeared without a trace, becoming a dead city. Only the surveillance images of the satellites were still on. Looking at the doomsday-like scene, the American president's mouth opened wide and he was speechless for a long time. This guy is too terrifying, right? Could it be that he is one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in the Bible? The end of humanity is really coming. It seems that if I want to get rid of all humans within 100 days, I still won't be able to rely on myself. Li Fan stepped on the surface of the sea and looked at the silent fleet. He reflected, it seems that I should use some more ingenious methods. Leave it to us. Ms. White Tiger had already condensed a physical body and stood lightly beside Li Fan. The 4 of us have the same power as you. Let us help you. I will build a castle for you. The black tortoise condensed into a man with thick eyebrows and big eyes. With a roar, the surface of the sea shook. Soon, a stone pagoda parted the waves and rose high into the sky. Li Fan entered the tower. At the top of the tower, there was a huge chair. Master, please take a seat. After Li Fan created the world, the 9-tailed divine fox finally submitted to him. This coquettish woman knelt beside Li Fan, together with the other holy beasts. Chapter 1770. Li Fan sat firmly on the throne and placed Qiu Shuang's coffin beside him. Azure Dragon, Black Tortoise, and Vermilion Bird had already flown out of the window and headed to different parts of the world to help Li Fan carry out his plan to destroy the world. White Tiger stood beside Li Fan. She glanced at Li Fan, then hugged her arms and slowly squatted on the ground. Soon, her body turned into a white crystal. But from this crystal, white tiger-headed warriors walked out one after another. These tiger-headed warriors were 2 meters tall, and each of them emitted the aura of a peak expert. They were like a proliferating machine, and white tiger warriors walked out one after another. But this would consume Li Fan's energy. Luckily, his internal energy was almost endless, so it wasn't much of a problem. Soon, more than 1,000 white tiger warriors walked out of the crystal. As the first army, they were sent out by Li Fan. Then, Li Fan continued to consume his energy and started to create the next batch of armies. Li Fan cooperated with White Tiger to create more than 10,000 armies in a day. Soon, Li Fan's White Tiger army had already conquered the entire world. Although they were only at the peak of strength, such a large number of them still brought destruction to many countries. In addition, there were 3 powerful holy beasts that destroyed the world at the same time. These 3 holy beasts all had power above the sage level, and because Vermilion Bird followed Li Fan every day, it even had the power of an exalted immortal. 9-tailed divine fox stayed behind to protect Li Fan. And Li Fan was like a great demon king, sitting in his pagoda, waiting for the entire world to be destroyed. With the help of the 4 holy beasts, the speed of Earth's destruction sped up. In just a month, almost 90% of the world's humans had disappeared. The remaining 10% were either hiding or working together to deal with Li Fan. Everyone, we have gathered here today for one purpose. As one of the survivors, Jiang Feng looked at his compatriots in the basement. His royal army had also been destroyed. There were less than a few hundred people in front of him, and their strength was uneven. They could not be considered a qualified force. However, Jiang Feng was also at his wits' end. In less than 2 months, all the regimes in the world had been wiped out. There were very few survivors. Jiang Feng only wanted to destroy the world of martial arts, but it was obvious that what was being destroyed was not just the world of martial arts, but the entire world. If the human race perished, then his sister would not be able to survive either. I heard that Li Fan doesn't even recognize his own family and friends and kills anyone he sees. Li Family Island was destroyed by him, and even imperial concubine Zhou died in his hands. But how are we going to deal with the great demon King Li Fan? A Japanese survivor couldn't help but ask with a trembling voice. I heard that his army is invincible, and he himself has godlike strength. For people like us, being able to survive is already enough. I heard that the Confederation government is preparing to launch the Arkansas, that's right. There are a total of 10 arcs that can carry 100,000 people. But I heard that only outstanding human elites can board the ship. Currently, there was only one Confederation government left, and the one presiding over the Confederation government was the President of the United States who had survived. He had been carrying out the Ark plan since a long time ago. The Ark was equipped with a survival system that could provide for 10,000 people to survive for 100 years. It was originally reserved for the unknown doomsday of the world, but no one expected the doomsday to come so soon. It was said that there were only a few days left before the Ark was launched. The President of the United States summoned the human elites and began to prepare to board the ship. Earth was the most beautiful home of mankind. If it was possible, no one wanted to leave this place. However, the doomsday was right before their eyes. They had no choice but to leave. However, the American president didn't know that there was a group of people who already had the foresight and had already settled down 5,000 meters under the Li Family Island. The underwater city was a facility that Bai Lin Luo had secretly developed. This city was protected by an isolation layer and was built in the deep sea. The size of the city wasn't small, and it was about the size of a Huaxia town. And after Li Fan released the live broadcast, Bai Lin Luo brought most of the people on the island to the underwater city. The concept here was similar to the Arkansas. It also had a unique survival system, including a sunlight simulation system. In the underwater city, it wouldn't be a problem for humans to survive for at least a few hundred years. Thanks to the prophet's reminder, Bai Lin Luo had already made these arrangements. However, he still couldn't figure out why Li Fan wanted to destroy the world. Everyone was working hard to survive in their own way. And the place where Jiang Feng and the others gathered was also an underground shelter. He organized these people to counterattack Li Fan, but they were opposed. Everyone wanted to survive, and no one wanted to provoke the devil Li Fan. A bunch of useless people. Jiang Feng couldn't help but scold. That's right. At this moment, a graceful figure slowly walked in. Seeing her, Jiang Feng was a little surprised. Murong. Why is she here? Jiang Feng was nervous. She wouldn't be here to kill him, right? Although he had already fallen into the Azura path, he knew Murong Ying's ability. At this juncture, if she really wanted to find trouble with him, it would be a little tricky. Don't worry, I won't kill you. Murong Ying's family was also destroyed in this destruction. She carried the only sword left in her family, wore a violet cheongsam, and her eyes were cold and filled with vengeance. You and I will work together to get rid of Li Fan. Are you sure? That's not him anymore. Murong said very calmly, the Li Fan I know isn't like this. Good, good, good. If you are willing to help me, I still have a chance of winning. Jiang Feng nodded, if there's another expert, 3 people would be even better. Then count me in, how about it? Unknowingly, number 9 was standing at the side with her arms crossed. It's you. Seeing number 9, Jiang Feng was even more surprised. You should be qualified to board the Ark, right? This has nothing to do with you. Number 9 maintained his pride, if you don't want to cooperate, then forget it. Don't, of course I'm willing to cooperate. Not to mention number 9, even if a cat or dog was willing to help, he would be willing. Jiang Feng was a little hungry to the point of not being picky. Okay, let's do it tomorrow. Murong said directly. Going to the magic tower. Jiang Feng frowned, that's Li Fan's home ground. I'm afraid it's not good for us to fight there, right? I've already made an appointment with Li Fan to fight in a city tomorrow. Murong replied, see you tomorrow at 12 noon, a city's second high school. After saying this, Murong flipped her hair and left with her long legs. Chapter 1771. Li Fan had indeed received a message from Murong. The next day, his figure appeared in City A. He stood on the tall teaching building of number 2 high school and looked down at the city that had become a ghost town. Li Fan hadn't returned to his little universe for the past 2 days. He didn't know how to face it, so he might as well wait for everything to settle down. However, City A was indeed extremely quiet now. The city was empty, and there was no one on the streets. Li Fan put down Qiu Shuang's coffin and placed it at the side. Look, this is where I used to go to school. My fate also began to change from this place. It had been a long time since he graduated, but every time he saw number 2 high school, Li Fan couldn't help but sigh. Just as he was talking to Qiu Shuang, a figure suddenly appeared on the opposite bell tower. The other party was dressed in a black cheongsam and carried a sword on her back. She had beautiful hair and long legs, and was as beautiful as a painting. You're here. Li Fan's gaze fell on the other party. She was still so cold and elegant. However, in her deep eyes, there was an additional desire for revenge. Li Fan, I'm here to collect a debt from you. Murong pointed at Li Fan. It's time for you to pay back the debt you owe. Murong, the current you is no match for me. Li Fan stood there quietly, expressionless, and said calmly to Murong. In order to be able to firmly carry out the 100-day plan, Li Fan had hypnotized himself in front of the mirror over and over again. He wanted to forget the 7 emotions and 6 desires, and let himself become a real killing machine. This kind of hypnosis was effective. After a long period of hypnosis, Li Fan finally made himself completely change. Otherwise, how could Li Fan bear to do it to the people he loved? Even if it was expropriation and not killing, the despair in their eyes before they died would still make his heart ache. What about us? Jiang Feng and number 9 stood on the rooftops of the office building and the stadium respectively. One of them wore a white shirt and a black fan, while the other wore a hero suit. If the 3 of you join forces, you should be able to defeat me in the past. Li Fan analyzed the situation. When he participated in the Martial Arts Alliance Master Battle, the 3 of them could have defeated him if they worked together. But now, after training in the sky beyond heaven for a period of time, his strength had far exceeded the scope of a human. With just the 3 of them, even if they added in the martial monarchs, it would still be far from enough. Jiang Feng, you've always wanted to destroy the martial arts world. Isn't this the perfect time to fulfill your wish? Li Fan's face was still cold. He turned his head, looked at Jiang Feng, and said word by word. His voice wasn't loud, but it was clearly heard by everyone. I only want to destroy the world of martial arts, not the world. Jiang Feng sighed softly. Besides, my sister is still alive. I don't want her to be in danger. Well, the 9th must be for Windsor. That's my business. The 9th was still a man of few words. As for Xiaoying, it should be for revenge for her family. Li Fan stood on the rooftop, very calm. Since everyone has a suitable reason, then I'll accompany you for a few moves. Third brother, you've become so arrogant. Jiang Feng extended his hand and summoned his long sword that was condensed with the true immortal technique. Do you still remember this sword? This is a weapon that is comparable to the Shangfang sword. With it, I will have the power to punish you. You seem to be quite confident in your weapon. Li Fan nodded. I hope it will be effective. There's no point in talking anymore. Li Fan. Watch out. After saying that, Muronging suddenly flashed and jumped in front of Li Fan. Then, she pulled out Murong's family heirloom sword with her left hand and used her unique power to condense the cherry blossom sword with her right hand. She performed the yin-yang dragon phoenix sword technique and launched a quick attack at Li Fan. You think you're worthy of sparring with Master? Before Li Fan could do anything, a red figure flew over. The nine-tailed divine fox wore a fiery red trench coat and used the great glorious sun palm to force Muronging back with one palm. You also brought help. Jiang Feng narrowed his eyes at the sight of the nine-tailed divine fox. It's her. If she also came to help, then their chances of victory would be greatly reduced. Help. Bullshit. The nine-tailed divine fox's voice deepened. I am Master's most loyal guardian. Even the other personality of the nine-tailed divine fox bowed down to Li Fan. This was because Li Fan's strength had indeed reached this level. Now, as long as those elders from the sky beyond heaven descend to the human world, Li Fan can immediately kill them all. What? Jiang Feng's mind was a mess. This lawless nine-tailed divine fox was bowing down to Li Fan. Idiot! A red tail over 10 meters long suddenly extended from the nine-tailed divine fox's back, sweeping Jiang Feng and sending him flying. With your intelligence, how can you understand Master's greatness? Piss off! Number 9 also leaped over. He had already transformed into his half-dragon form. As a member of a high-tier tribe, he had a subconscious reaction to the fox tribe. He didn't use any techniques. He raised a leg and kneed the nine-tailed divine fox's body flying. Number 9 possessed the genes of a dragon, so he was extremely powerful. Even the nine-tailed divine fox was at a disadvantage against him. Stand down, amorous fox. Li Fan suddenly instructed, this is my duel. But, Master, this is an order. Yes, the nine-tailed divine fox could only retreat to the side, but he glared at the three of them with rage. You've already fallen to such a low level of depravity. Muronging glared at Li Fan with a hint of rage in her eyes. Have you been bewitched by this demonic woman? If you want to fight, then come at me. Li Fan crooked his finger at Muronging. There's no need to say anything else. Fine. Watch my sword. Muronging grabbed her two swords and shot toward Li Fan again. She stabbed at Li Fan with her two swords. Muronging's sword techniques became faster and faster. However, Li Fan only extended a single finger and tapped the tip of Muronging's sword every time, preventing Muronging's attacks from being completed. Muronging's mental fortitude improved as she fought. He was able to block her attacks with just a single finger. Had he become so powerful? Miss Murong, I'll cooperate with you. Jiang Feng appeared behind Li Fan at some point in time. The sword in his hand swept toward Li Fan's neck. However, Li Fan extended his other hand and flicked the tip of Jiang Feng's sword. Clang! Jiang Feng's treasured sword that could slay gods was actually flicked away by Li Fan with just 2 fingers. What? Jiang Feng was shocked. He didn't dare to believe his own eyes. At this moment, number 9 arrived above Li Fan's head. He raised his leg and whipped it toward Li Fan's head. Chapter 1772. The air seemed to have been sliced apart. This leg had already reached the top of Li Fan's head. However, Li Fan raised his fist and punched number 9's leg. Boom! Number 9's body was sent flying. He spun a few times in the air before finally crashing into the bell tower behind him. The bell tower was smashed, and number 9 was lying inside. None of these 3 were Li Fan's enemy. The 3 reorganized themselves and prepared for another battle. Li Fan is too strong. Everyone be careful. Jiang Feng organized everyone to attack. I will use Shura sword energy to assist from afar. Number 9 will rely on your strong close-range combat. Miss Murong, your Yin-Yang Dragon Phoenix sword is very powerful. Please find Li Fan's weakness and take the opportunity to finish him off. Jiang Feng's strategy could be said to be the most suitable. Unfortunately, their enemy was Li Fan. Roar! Number 9 roared. His body suddenly expanded, becoming nearly 4 meters tall. His body was covered in hard dragon scales. He charged forward and swung his palm at Li Fan, as if he was swatting a fly. He planned to send Li Fan flying with one slap. However, Li Fan only stretched out a hand and grabbed number 9's palm. No, too weak. Li Fan said and squeezed his palm. Number 9's palm was crushed just like that. Before Jiang Feng could unleash his Shura sword chi, their main tank was already crippled. The remaining 2 range players, how were they going to deal with them? Humph. Number 9 was indeed a warrior. His hand was crushed, but he still swung his tail like a whip, lashing at Li Fan's body. However, Li Fan grabbed the man's tail in his hand again and gave it a final tug. Number 9's body was like a toy. He was pulled into the air and then swung a few times in Li Fan's hand before being thrown far away. Boom! Number 9's body smashed into the ground, creating a huge crater. Li Fan was still standing on the roof of the school building like a demon god, unmoving. Jiang Feng's heartbeat quickened. This was the first time he had such a terrifying feeling. However, he was already prepared. Just as number 9 was smashed into the ground, the clouds in the sky were suddenly penetrated, and a huge divine dragon descended from the sky. It poked its head out, and a pair of dragon eyes stared at Li Fan. Dragon God number 1. This was Jiang Feng's last resort. Dragon God strike. Jiang Feng pointed at Li Fan. Suddenly, a beam of black and red light shot out from his dragon mouth, accurately hitting Li Fan. With a loud boom, the ground shook, and a mushroom cloud shot up into the sky. Standing in the distance, Jiang Feng heaved a sigh of relief when he saw this scene. The dragon god's attack was a quantum attack. Not to mention humans, even steel would be obliterated. Number 9 pulled his body out from the ground again. His damaged body was constantly being repaired. As for Murong, she raised her 2 long swords again, and her eyes were still solemn. Jiang Feng seemed to feel that something was wrong. With a wave of his hand, a powerful force dispersed the smoke. Li Fan was still standing there calmly. The entire building had been destroyed, but he seemed fine. He stood in the air with the silver coffin on his back. Is this all you have? Li Fan asked. Damn it. Seeing that Li Fan wasn't even injured, Jiang Feng's hair stood on end. Could it be that this guy was invincible? Everyone, we can't do anything to him. He immediately made a decision. Everyone, retreat first. You guys retreat. I'll do it alone. Murongning wielded her two swords and attacked Li Fan again. However, Li Fan was too strong. With just a finger, he easily blocked all of Murongying's attacks. Doppelganger. Murongning immediately released her doppelganger. Two Murongying, each holding a sword, performed the advanced technique of the yin-yang dragon and phoenix sword. Their swordsmanship had improved a lot, but Li Fan suddenly grabbed a scarlet spear. With just 3 spear strikes, he sent the swords in Murongying's and her doppelganger's hands flying. Although Murongying was shocked, she didn't stop. With a raging flame palm, she continued to attack Li Fan's chest. Murongying's hands were as red as blood, as though they were burning. However, Li Fan didn't even defend this time. He only used his chest to receive Murongying's palms. Bang bang. With 2 loud sounds, the raging flame palm seemed to have hit the iron Buddha. Li Fan didn't move. You have already trained to the level of lower immortal. Li Fan looked at Murongying and couldn't help but praise. I really didn't expect that you, as a human, could actually train to such a level. But still not as good as you. The martial artist that he had trained in the past had now far surpassed him in strength. In fact, he could only look at her back, unable to catch up. No, Li Fan said, you actually surpassed me a long time ago, because I'm no longer human. With that, Li Fan reached out and grabbed a bright silver longsword. The longsword brought along a phantom as it stabbed towards Murongying's throat. Logically, Murongying wouldn't be able to avoid this move. However, the former martial arts alliance master never let down his strength. She almost subconsciously moved her body slightly to the side. This sword brushed past Murongying's neck. Murongying immediately frowned and subconsciously looked at Li Fan. There's something wrong with your sword. Murongying's sixth sense was too terrifying. She immediately sensed that Li Fan's sword didn't have the smell of death. Xiaowing, let's be husband and wife in our next life. Li Fan was afraid that Murongying would sense something deeper. His body immediately flashed with lightning speed. This time, Murongying couldn't avoid it. Her throat was pierced by the long sword as her body started to disintegrate bit by bit. Li Fan, Murongying only left this complicated sentence before her body shattered into starlight and completely disappeared from this world. At this moment, Jiang Feng had already escaped. Only number 9 was left standing in front of Li Fan. Aren't you going to escape? Li Fan asked. The word escape doesn't exist in my dictionary. Number 9 readjusted his strength, the muscles on his body became firmer. Today, either you die or I die. Then I'll have to trouble you. As Li Fan spoke, he instantly appeared beside number 9. At the same time, his palm was already pressed against number 9's head. Li Fan's palm gathered his strength and directly blasted into number 9's head. Number 9's head started to collapse and his entire body disappeared without a trace. Xiao Shui, you have to take good care of them for me. Looking at the school that had turned into ruins, Li Fan said in his heart. Although the destruction plan was going smoothly, many buildings on Earth were accidentally destroyed. However, he couldn't always be perfect. He could only wait until everything was over and let the humans solve it themselves. Chapter 1773. The 100-day deadline was approaching, and Li Fan had successfully pushed the plan to the end. Master, on the entire Earth, humans are less than 1%. The 9-tailed divine fox knelt in front of Li Fan and reported to him, the remaining people will leave on the Ark today. Li Fan nodded. Are you going to exterminate them? Zhang Qing continued to ask, as long as you wish, I will immediately mobilize the White Tiger army to exterminate them. No need. Li Fan waved his hand, if they want to leave, then leave. The plan I made with Sky Beyond Heaven is to make all the humans on Earth disappear. It's the same if they leave Earth. As long as we are still here, they won't dare to come back. And I will listen to Master. Zhang Qing continued to report, in addition, before the 100-day deadline, there is another army coming our way. Oh. Li Fan raised his head and looked at the nine-tailed divine fox with interest. The whole world is afraid of me, even Sky Beyond Heaven is afraid of me. Now, who still wants to make life difficult for me? I heard that you are the last hope of mankind. Jiang Feng has gathered some martial arts masters from the east and holy knights from the west to prepare for a decisive battle with you. However, they can't even get past me. Since they have the courage to challenge me, then I should welcome them. Li Fan smiled, it's just boring, just treat it as a little fun for me. Okay, Master, then I will let the White Tiger guards in front of the castle make way for them. No need. Li Fan smiled, since they are here to challenge me, then they should have the ability to defeat those White Tiger guards. The strength of the White Tiger guards belongs to the higher level, they are all at the Grandmaster level. However, there are not many of them, only 100. Zhang Qing ordered them to guard the Demon Tower. I hope they can give me a little surprise. After saying that, Li Fan closed his eyes and seemed to fall into a deep sleep again. Zhang Qing knew that Li Fan was actually cultivating. Now that he had a pocket universe, his cultivation speed was also affected. It was many times faster than before. At this moment, as long as he sat there and closed his eyes, he would be able to enter the state of cultivation. At this time, Li Fan could not only absorb essence qi, he could even rely on this Devil Tower as a receiver to directly obtain cosmic energy from the universe. Just like what Li Fan said, after he created the pocket universe, he really didn't belong to the category of humans anymore. Weren't gods the only ones who could create the world and life? If Li Fan wasn't a god, why would he willingly serve him? Fellow compatriots, we are the last resistance force on this planet. Jiang Feng stood on a high platform. In front of him were two waves of powerful forces. Martial artists from the east and holy knights from the west. These were the last and strongest forces on Earth. Those Eastern martial artists were all hidden experts. In the past, they wouldn't appear at all. But now, in order to survive, they had no choice but to come out of their hiding places and appear in front of him. For example, that monk, his strength was in the realm of half-step saint. And that old man with white hair and a ruddy face, he actually had the strength of a saint. These martial artists were definitely not seen on normal days. They wholeheartedly cultivated and stayed away from the secular world. Their average age was also more than 100 years old. And those holy knights from the west, they were also loyal warriors who had long given their bodies and souls to God. The age of these guys was also above 3 digits, and they usually accompanied God in the church. The two groups of people who were usually hostile to each other stood together for the same goal today. Everyone here is the most outstanding elite. I believe that if we work together, we will definitely be able to defeat the great demon King Li Fan. In that case, we should choose a leader. A short Eastern old man spoke. This person was called Wang Jiajun, a hidden expert of the Qingqing sect. His strength was at the level of half-step saint. It seemed that because he lived alone for a long time, his words were a little strange, making people feel very uncomfortable. None of these experts were normal. There were 7 people on the Huaxia side and 7 people on the western side. It was really neat. However, other than them, there was also a ninja god from the island. This guy was actually more than 200 years old, but he still maintained the traditional height of the island people. As a man, he was only 1.58 meters tall and wore a white ninja outfit with a pink cherry blossom printed on the back. This person's strength was also very high. He was actually a saint. Jiang Feng also did not expect that there would be such a powerful expert in the island. None of you are a match for me. Sure enough, this guy opened his mouth to speak. He spoke fluent Chinese and said, "Leader, it's my turn." Just as his voice fell, a few Western holy knights started to speak in English, as if they were arguing about something. These holy knights were divided into 3 levels. The highest level was a golden-robed knight called a res. He was a handsome old man who tied his white beard into a braid. The golden-robed knight's rank and authority were the highest. This Arez himself also had strength close to saint. And below him were 3 red-robed knights, Ford, Shelley, and Bonnie. Their strength was half saint. Below the red-robed knight were 3 white-robed knights called Dewar, Carter, and Voss. Their strength was at the peak of Grand Master. But among these people, only the white-robed knight Dewar could speak Chinese. After these people finished their discussion, Dewar finally took a step forward and spoke as the spokesperson. Our golden-robed knight Arez has led the war against the dark creatures more than once. This time, it should be our Arez who leads the fight against the great demon King Li Fan. Ha, Arez, just a loser. A white-robed elder carrying a sword on his back suddenly spoke sarcastically. This was the hermit expert of Mount Hua, Jian Nantian. He was very strong and was the only martial saint among the few experts from Huaxia. Let him be the leader, he is not qualified. After Dewar translated, Arez's face flushed red, and he actually stretched out his hand and grabbed a shining golden holy hammer from the void. It seemed that this golden-robed knight wanted to fight with Jian Nantian. Well, everyone, please calm down. Jiang Feng finally couldn't stand it anymore. This team had not yet started fighting, but there was already internal strife. This was a crusade against the great demon king. Crusade my ass. The leader should be chosen, but if you have internal strife first, I'm afraid we will be killed before we reach the Devil Tower, right? Then what do you think we should do? Wang Jiejun of the Qingqing sect looked at the youngest guy gloomily, wanting to hear what he thought. Chapter 1774. They did not know where this young man had gotten the news from, but he had actually managed to find all of them from the depths of the forest. These people, including himself, were all experts who had lived in seclusion for many years. They had actually lost the will to fight long ago. This was the way to longevity. But it was different now. Their will to fight was gone, but their face was still very important. Which one of them was not a super expert who dominated a region in the past? Now that they had gathered together, the Demon King had to be punished, but their face had to be earned back. Leading the team was not that important to Wang Jiejun, who had been the sect master for many years. But to let others stand above him, that was absolutely impossible. Even if he did not have the strength of a sage, he was not far from it. It was absolutely impossible for him to obey anyone else. Why did he want to live in seclusion in the mountains? Wasn't it so that he could live a carefree life? Everyone here probably had the same thoughts as Wang Jiejun. Everyone, if you want to compete with strength, I, Jiang Feng, can tell you the truth. I am the strongest. As he spoke, Jiang Feng waved his hand, and the clouds in the sky were immediately dispersed. The huge dragon god number 1 flew down from the sky, revealing a ferocious scene. Among everyone here, the strongest should be a sage. But I, Jiang Feng, already have the strength of a lower immortal. With the addition of dragon god number 1, I don't need to explain my strength. As he spoke, Jiang Feng even raised the sword in his hand. No one present was a fool. They could clearly feel the terror emanating from the sword. And there was also Dragon God number 1. The pressure this huge thing gave them was not weak either. How did this young man called Jiang Feng possess such strength? But I respect everyone here. After all, when it comes to reputation, I can only carry your shoes. But please understand that the enemy we are facing now is far stronger than me. Moreover, he has already lost his mind and is a true demon king. During the last crusade against him, I saw with my own eyes how he killed the woman he once loved. Thinking of the scene of Li Fan killing Muronging, Jiang Feng's entire body trembled. He could never have imagined such a scene. Who was Li Fan? No matter how heartless he was, he couldn't kill Muronging. To Li Fan, Muronging was the woman he loved the most. She was also the woman that pierced the deepest spot in his heart. If Li Fan could actually kill Muronging, then it might be like what Muronging said, Li Fan was no longer Li Fan. Then come up with an idea. Seeing Jiang Feng's strength, Erez stopped being pretentious and let Duer translate his words. If you're right, we old guys will listen to you. Everyone, let me say something very sincerely. At this time, Jiang Feng finally brought out his unique charm. He bowed deeply to everyone, and then said, "This time, I hope that the expedition against Li Fan will be successful. But to be honest, our chances of failure are higher. But to be able to challenge the Demon King with you and die on the battlefield, I'm very honored. A little face is really not important to us now. I only hope that we can all unite. Only in this way can we have a chance to win." This time, Jiang Feng spoke from the bottom of his heart. He had racked his brains and fought all his life to destroy the martial arts world. But in the end, Li Fan completed it for him and also helped him destroy the world. Jiang Feng felt very empty in his heart. He felt like he had lived his life in vain. But he was a martial fighter. Even if he died, he had to die with dignity. His alliance with Muronging and the others had failed. This time, Jiang Feng decided that he would not escape today. He would either win or die in battle. "Young man, this old man admires you very much." Jian Nantian nodded at Jiang Feng. "This time, you'll be the leader of this operation. I've lived for more than 100 years and I've lived long enough. Today, to be able to fight with the strongest person on the surface, it can be considered as fulfilling my old friend's long-cherished wish." As he spoke, Jian Nantian touched the hilt of his sword, his eyes softening. "As long as you don't let that whore Bailon be the leader, anyone else is fine." The master of Kong Tong was an ugly old woman. She supported her hunchback and bared her yellow teeth as she mocked. "Female Yama, if you don't speak, no one will think you're mute." Bailon was the master of Kunlun. She was dressed in white and seemed refined. Even though she was more than 100 years old, her appearance still maintained the appearance of a 40-something-year-old beautiful woman. Kunlun was indeed a place with good feng shui. Bailon had relied on the unique environment there to preserve her looks. But between her and the female Yama of Kong Tong, there probably was some grudge. "I didn't think that after so many years, you're still the same. Your face and heart are as ugly." "Hee, I'm just ugly on the outside, but your heart is even uglier than my face." The old woman spat at Bailon. "Other than stealing other people's men, what else can you do? You bitch with a venomous heart. There's no use keeping your tongue. Why don't I cut it off for you?" As Bailon spoke, her body had already appeared behind the old woman. At the same time, she held a jade flute in her hand and started blowing at the old woman. Cold mountain jade toad sound. This was Kunlun's unique technique. The sound waves could shatter a person's meridians. But the old woman had long known her technique. Turning around, she used a roaring flame blade. Her hand blade carried flames as it swept towards Bai Lan's throat. But if that happened, the two of them would most likely both suffer heavy injuries. But at this moment, Jiang Feng suddenly appeared between them. His left hand gripped the old woman's roaring flame blade, his right hand gripped Bai Lan's jade flute. One person, he blocked the attacks of the two. Jiang Feng's body only shook slightly. Bai Lan and the old woman were both shocked. Their gazes at Jiang Feng became even more complicated. The martial world was huge, the strong were respected. Jiang Feng's display of strength this time was sufficient to prove his strength. At this moment, everyone truly admired him. Two seniors, please calm down. Jiang Feng advised, if you two are angry, please save it for the great demon King Li Fan. No matter what grudges you two had in the past, after so long, at the last moment, please let it go. You little brat, do you know what grudges we have between us? The old woman spat, if you know what's good for you, scram. Between me and this bitch, there's only one of us. Little friend, you saw it too. Bai Lan sighed, this woman's mouth is too vicious. How can I allow her to humiliate me like this? Humiliate you? That's letting you off easy. As the old woman spoke, her savage eyes glared, even if I die, I will bring her down to hell with me. Then I will fulfill your wish. Bai Lan once again flashed his jade flute. Chapter 1775. The two old ladies looked like they still wanted to fight. Jiang Feng had a headache. If you want to fight, fine. Jiang Feng was also angry, then the two of you stay here and fight slowly. We are going to continue to the Devil Tower. He let go of the two of them and said loudly, when the earth is about to die, the two of you are still fighting over the old things of the past. I don't know what the other heroes think. Anyway, I think it's really boring. The skills that the two of you have learned are for nothing. You don't deserve to be called martial artists. Jiang Feng began to play with the war of public opinion. Sure enough, as soon as he finished speaking, the surrounding people began to talk about the two of them. At this time, they are still jealous. TSK, woman. Mayame is also a woman, but we are all children of the Jianghu. We will not act like this. The experts of Ame, Lu Ying, couldn't help but complain. The two women were slightly embarrassed. Under the condemnation of the crowd, both of them blushed and took a few steps back. Jiang Feng breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. Damn it, he finally settled these two women. This team is really difficult, especially the small team from the east, which is making a lot of noise. On the contrary, the Holy Knights of the West, after saying that they would listen to him, they were extremely obedient. Even the ninja god of the island, Long Tian Kojiro, did not say a word. However, there were occasional quarrels between the martial artists of the East, especially the two old ladies, who would bicker from time to time. Jiang Feng also had no choice. He really didn't have any control over these old fellows. But as long as he persevered and brought them to the front of the Devil Tower, it would be fine. Fortunately, these people were very fast. In less than half a day, they arrived in front of the Devil Tower. Li Fan's Devil Tower is located in the third port of the United States. At this time, there is already a stone bridge in front of the port, connecting the Devil Tower and the port. Li Fan seemed to be welcoming outsiders, waiting for their arrival. Looking at the towering Devil Tower that pierced through the clouds, all the experts began to calculate in their hearts. Is this the Devil Tower? Jian Nantian stood at the bridge with his hands behind his back. He had a natural and unrestrained temperament. Everyone, wait here. This old man will go and meet the Devil King first. With that, he prepared to use his lightness skill to go to the top of the tower. However, Jiang Feng hurriedly stopped him and advised. Senior Jian, it's better for us to look out for each other. Even I don't know what it's like inside the magic tower. It was better for everyone to stick together and advance step by step. I am willing to be your vanguard and clean up those tiger head guards. Jiang Feng pointed at the white tiger guardians on the bridge. These white tiger guards all had tiger heads and human bodies. They wore simple silver armor. The weapons of these guardians were their sharp claws. Even steel would be torn to shreds by them. Leave these guys to us. Arez pointed. Carter, Voss, you guys go and test their strength. Yes. The two white-robed holy knights responded in unison. Then, they stretched out their hands and pinched the cross-shaped necklace hanging on their necks. In the blink of an eye, the white light enveloped their bodies and turned into white armor. At the same time, the two of them held a cross shield in their left hand and a war hammer in their right. The two of them pounced towards the white tiger guardian as if they were on drugs. The two white tiger guardians on the bridge began to counterattack. The two sides fought together. The armor and shield on the two holy knights had high defensive power. They were barely able to block the claws of the white tiger guardian. But before they could react, even more white tiger guardians pounced over. A few of them attacked them from behind, ripping open their backs and digging out their hearts. However, Arez did not panic. He raised his golden hammer high and chanted some kind of hymn in English. A golden light descended from the sky and sprinkled on the two white-robed holy knights. Carter and Voss actually stood up again as if nothing had happened. They continued to fight with the white tiger guardians. Grandmaster Peak. The experts determined the strength of these guardians. Such a large number was a bit shocking. With this kind of strength, no wonder the white-robed knights couldn't handle it. Jian Nantian nodded. Stroking his beard, he said, fellow comrades, who is going to take care of them? I'll go. Unexpectedly, the god of ninjas, Tatsuda Kojiro, stood up and took 2 steps forward. Then, he held a scroll in his mouth and made a ninja spell with both hands. His body suddenly turned into hundreds and rushed towards the bridge together. These ninjas all took out different weapons and began to attack. The god of ninjas was indeed brave. The strength of the saint level was not for nothing. Almost in the blink of an eye, Kojiro hid in the doppelgangers and began to kill the guardians. When his doppelgangers were killed, the guardians were also cleaned up. This dwarf is a bit interesting. Jian Nantian nodded, if there's a chance, I'll fight with him. With that, everyone crossed the stone bridge and arrived in front of the Devil Tower. 2 white tiger sacred warriors stood in front of the gate of the Demon Tower. This was the most powerful unit that Miss White Tiger had created. Each of them was 3 meters tall and wore golden armor. Their strength was close to that of a half-saint. As soon as Kojiro arrived in front of them, he was forced back by their quick attacks. These 2 fellows are so fierce. They have the strength of a half-saint. The old woman spat, the Japanese dwarf is just not good enough. Even a saint was forced to retreat. Their attacks are indeed sharp. You can't blame him. Prin said fair words, but it made the old woman feel even more disgusted. Feeling sorry. Are you having an affair with the dwarf? Why don't I tear your mouth off? Seeing that the 2 old women were about to fight again, Jiang Feng hurriedly diverted the conflict. Why don't the 2 of you each deal with a golden-armored white tiger? Jiang Feng suggested, let's see which one of you can deal with them first. How about that? Sure. Prin and the old woman both agreed. The 2 of them needed a place to vent their anger. As soon as they finished speaking, they appeared beside the 2 white tiger holy warriors. Die. The old woman's nickname was Female Yama. She waved the roaring flame blade and slashed at the white tiger holy warrior. Prin's white robe fluttered as he walked beside the white tiger holy warrior. He blew the jade toad sound again and again, causing the white tiger holy warrior to bleed from all orifices. The two of them attacked separately. Finally, the two white tiger holy warriors started to retreat. In a short while, they both died in the hands of the two old women. Humph, your jade toad sound isn't that great. It's like a child's whistle. The old woman grabbed the head of a white tiger and mocked. Jade toad sound is good at group attacks. Prin was unconvinced. If it's one-on-one, you naturally have the advantage. The two of you, let's enter the tower first. Who knows, there might be more enemies inside. Let the two of you decide who's better. Jiang Feng played the role of a guide again. Chapter 1776. The group of people finally walked into the towering devil tower that was filled with dense devil chi. The magic tower is very high, and there are many monsters guarding inside. These Eastern and Western experts advanced layer by layer, and under the threat of the magic tower, they finally put down the estrangement between each other, temporarily tied together, and became a strong team. However, no matter how strong they are, when these people reach the 100th floor of the tower, they will be very tired. This damn broken place. Why is it so high? Wang Jiajun of the Qingqing sect couldn't help wiping the sweat on his forehead. He is a master of the semi-sage level. His physical strength should be very strong. But this damned devil pagoda actually had 100 floors. What is the concept of 100 floors? The concept is that there are as many monsters as there are hairs on the cow. Every floor consumed a lot of their physical strength. After 100 floors, these people were all sweating like rain. I seem to be playing a game of what man can go up to 100 floors. Everyone above is the last floor of the magic tower. Jiang Feng has already felt that familiar and terrifying aura. To be honest, Jiang Feng is a little afraid. But what's the use of being afraid? If he doesn't challenge Li Fan, then he will be his eternal nightmare. From then on, Li Fan's strength will not improve anymore. As a martial artist, Jiang Feng wants to burn his last fighting spirit. He stood in front of the stairs and politely asked the experts in front of him for their opinions. We're here, of course we have to go up. Jian Nantian also took a deep breath. This trip is really tiring. But he is the sword god of Mount Hua. How can he stop here? I heard that this kid named Li Fan has also abducted the most promising disciple of Mount Hua. I really should meet this kid. We Templars never know exhaustion. Arez also has no intention of staying. This is the magic tower, the enemy's territory. How can they be safe if they rest here? It's better to go straight to the top in one go. Maybe they can give the great demon King Li Fan a surprise. The god of ninja of Japan did not object, so everyone followed Jiang Feng, walked up the steps, all the way to the highest floor of the Devil Tower, where Li Fan was. Sure enough, as soon as he entered, he was greeted by a huge throne. Li Fan was wearing a set of frostwhite bone armor. His 3-meter-tall body was sitting there with his legs wide open. Li Fan could now maintain the third stage of the Heavenly Thunder transformation every minute. This was the strength of Li Fan after he opened his pocket universe. The energy in his body was almost endless, inexhaustible and inexhaustible. As he sat there, not only did he look like a demon king, but he also looked like a god. To Li Fan's left was a silver coffin, and to his right was the 9-tailed divine fox. You are Li Fan. When Jian Nantian saw the huge Li Fan, he was stunned for a moment. This fellow was no longer human, right? Everyone, don't worry, take a rest. Li Fan did not show a fierce look. Instead, he gave them a smile and said very gently, "You must be tired after coming all the way here. Zhongqing, prepare the origin restoring pill for everyone." "Yes." Zhongqing shook her white legs, shook her fiery red tail, twisted her waist, and walked towards everyone step by step. Everyone was on guard. The power that this fox spirit emitted was not weak. But Zhongqing just took out a small gourd, and then poured out a pill on a table in front of everyone. This is the origin restoring pill. It is specially used to restore internal strength. It is also useful for friends from the West. Li Fan looked at Jiang Feng. Jiang Feng knows the effect of this medicine. "Hee, do you really think we are stupid?" The old woman spat. "Who dares to eat your medicine?" "Yeah, what if it's poison?" Wang Jiajun also refused to take the medicine. "I am not a 3-year-old child." No one dared to eat the pill, afraid that Li Fan would poison them. Li Fan did not say anything, just sat there, quietly waiting for the experts. Jiang Feng sighed, took 2 steps forward, took a origin restoring pill, and stuffed it into his mouth. "Jiang Feng, are you crazy?" Wang Jiajun looked at Jiang Feng's bold action, very confused. "You dare to eat this? Are you tired of living?" "Everyone, believe me." Jiang Feng said very calmly, "If he wanted to kill us, he would not use poison. You are still too young." Prince shook his head. "No matter how powerful the enemy is, he is still a person. To deal with us, he will definitely use all kinds of methods. This poison is also one of them." "That's right, the enemy is very cunning." "Jiang Feng, how many years have you lived? Your Jianghu experience is too little." Even Jian Nantian began to teach Jiang Feng a lesson. To everyone's surprise, the god of ninjas, Tatsuda Kojiro, took 2 steps forward, stretched out his hand, and swallowed a pill. "Both of you are very brave." Li Fan could not help but praise them. "I will give you 2 face. I am willing to wait 20 minutes for you to recover your strength. Please rest." With that, Li Fan even closed his eyes, as if he was resting, like an old monk meditating, ignoring the crowd. Jian Nantian and the others looked at each other. What did this mean? "The enemy is very arrogant." Arez let Doyle translate. "He does not care about us at all." Damn it. As the sword god of Mount Hua, how could Jian Nantian tolerate this kind of humiliation? He stretched out his hand, and the treasured sword on his back came out with a sound, flying into the air. Then, Jian Nantian caught the treasured sword, leaped tens of meters, and in the blink of an eye, appeared in front of Li Fan, and chopped down at Li Fan's head. But Li Fan did not even open his eyes. He only stretched out 2 fingers, and easily clamped this wind and thunder sword that was about to reach his forehead. Dang! A crisp sound of metal rang, and all the hair on Jian Nanshan's body trembled. This Li Fan, what kind of strength did he have? His sword could be said to be natural, as if it was the work of a god. But it was actually blocked so easily. Li Fan finally opened his eyes, and with a flick of his finger, the sword was directly broken. However, Li Fan did not kill Jian Nantian. Instead, he blew Jian Nanshan's body away. "I said 20 minutes to rest. During this time, I will not kill you." He flicked the dust that fell on his armor. "You have 20 minutes to rest, and you can also take the opportunity to discuss how to challenge me." With that, he closed his eyes again, as if he was going to sleep. Jiang Feng knew that this might be the last 20 minutes of his life. Chapter 1777. Everyone is speechless. When Li Fan said he would give them pills, he really gave them pills. When he said he would give them time, he really did not lie. Absolute strength is right there for all to see. In comparison, the few of them are really like clowns. They even suspect that he used poison. With his strength, why would he need to use poison to deal with them? This person's strength. What is his level? Wang Jiajun feels that he has lost his judgment. Heaven immortal. Jiang Feng spits out these two words. As a person who has a certain understanding of heavens beyond, he roughly knows the division of levels in heavens beyond. Immortal slave, low immortal, high immortal, heaven immortal. Each level has a difference of 10 times. I'm afraid Li Fan has already reached the highest level in heavens beyond, heaven immortal. Jiang Feng does not know that above heaven immortal, there is still venerable immortal. Moreover, Li Fan's strength is actually not only at heaven immortal but also gradually developing towards venerable immortal. His strength is already invincible. Jiang Feng finally understands that even if he wants to fight with Li Fan, he does not have this qualification. Third brother, it seems that I am not worthy to be your opponent. Second brother's Shura sword energy is still very powerful. Without opening his eyes, Li Fan lightly says, "Can't you guys find a way to fight with me? How about this, I will only use 1% of my strength to fight with you guys, how about it? 1% of strength." Everyone immediately feels deeply humiliated. This guy is too arrogant. Although it is a bit shameful, this is also a method. Aritz has already seen Li Fan's strength. As an honest Westerner, he decides to accept Li Fan's conditions. But can you keep your promise and only use 1% of your strength to fight with us? Rest assured, I keep my word. If you guys can kill me, then it means that my skill is not as good as yours. With that, Li Fan walked down from the chair step by step. With each step, his body shrinks a bit. Soon, he returns to a normal person's height. Those Eastern martial artists did not say anything. Since Aritz is standing up for them, it is for the best. This person is really arrogant. Since you're willing to die, I'll fulfill your wish. The old woman raised the red flames in her hands and operated the roaring flame blade to the extreme. Although I don't like you, you have a point this time. Prin also stood on the old woman's side. The 20 minutes are almost up, let this old woman fight him on your behalf. As he spoke, Bailan displayed Kunlun's Qinggong, 8 steps treading on clouds, and instantly appeared in front of Li Fan. Death-seeking wind god. Bailan did not hold back at all, and immediately displayed his most powerful technique. A set of beautiful leg techniques was displayed, leaving afterimages as he charged towards Li Fan. But Li Fan didn't care, he followed Prin's movements, his body lightly tilted a few times, and actually dodged Prin's leg. At the same time, Li Fan suddenly pushed with his palm, and followed Prin's force, pushing Prin's leg to the side. As he dispelled her force, he also raised his leg, flipped over, and gave a whip kick, which landed on Prin's body. Li Fan's attack had reached perfection, there was no weakness on his body, and every time he attacked, he would definitely hit the opponent's vitals. Prin was the same. She was kicked in the waist by Li Fan, and almost split in half. Her body flew out pathetically, and barely managed to flip in midair before landing on the ground. Her calves even trembled, and she almost couldn't stand. Kunlun's wind god's legs, as expected, it's graceful and ethereal. Li Fan praised, but this senior, your leg techniques are graceful, but not strong enough. If you could increase your strength a bit, the effect would be better. Prin's face reddened, but he didn't know how to refute. Everything Li Fan said was all her weakness. Don't be courteous with him. Templar. Surround and attack. Arez was the most practical, he waved the hammer in his hand, and 3 red-robed Templars and 3 white-robed Templars all rushed towards Li Fan, and in the blink of an eye, they surrounded him. Following that, these Templar knights used the holy light to strengthen their bodies, and started to attack Li Fan ferociously. Under Arez's lead, these Templar Knights first threw out a wave of milky white cross light waves. These light waves were each 1 meter long, a total of 7, and smashed towards Li Fan from all directions. Li Fan stood on the spot, and lightly moved his feet, with his right leg as the axis, his body turned slightly, and at the same time, both his hands continuously defended with crane hands, slapping the incoming crosses. Bang bang bang. These crosses couldn't even get close to Li Fan. The 1 meter radius around his body seemed to form a vacuum space, preventing people and objects from entering. Ha! 3 white-robed Templars suddenly raised their shields, and jumped towards Li Fan together. They held their shields horizontally, and smashed down towards Li Fan. However, Li Fan was very agile, his body slid forward, and slid out from under the body of the white-robed Templar in the middle. When the white-robed Templar landed on the ground, Li Fan had already raised his leg, and with a beautiful whip kick, he sent the head of one of the white-robed Templars flying. And the other 2 white-robed Templars had just turned around, and raised their shields, when Li Fan had already jumped up lightly, both his hands pressing on the 2 shields, and then he exhaled, and his body suddenly sank, actually pressing the 2 white-robed Templars to the ground. Li Fan's body leaped backwards, and his dragon catcher hand was also activated. 3 fingers grabbed onto the 2 shields, and using the force of his somersault, he sent both of their shields flying. The 2 were shocked, and before they could react, Li Fan consecutively kicked out twice, like lightning, and crushed their hearts. Stab leg. Li Fan's leg technique was almost invincible. When Prince saw this, he also felt that his wind god's leg was far from being comparable. This young man, he was clearly only in his 20s, how did he train? Not only did his strength level far surpass theirs, even his combat skills were much higher than theirs. Could it be that this young man was like that Lu Jinchan, a natural-born martial arts prodigy? Sigh, the heavens were really unfair. Shackles. The 3 white-robed Templars all died, but Arez did not have the slightest expression. Their souls had gone to see God, and this was the destination they sought. But the remaining Templars still had to continue their battle. 3 golden chains flew out from the hands of the 3 red-robed Templars, and wrapped around Li Fan's body, actually locking Li Fan up. Guillotine. Arez bellowed, and the warhammer in his hand suddenly transformed into a silver-white giant axe. Carrying the giant axe, he leaped up, and like a clap of thunder, he descended from the sky once again, chopping towards Li Fan's head. It looked like Li Fan was in imminent danger. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.